Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. The Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 152, and our mission this episode is to discuss Mission Impossible Fallout. My name is Zachy Hassan. I'm here with Brian Hall.
Hey, good morning, Zachy. How's it going?
It's going fantastic.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. I figured that's better than, I don't know. I decided that the Eeyore intro would not be the way to start the show. It's fine, I guess.
We've had some commentaries in between here, so there's been a little bit of a episode gap, but
yes.
And as fun as those were, I'm glad to be back here chit-chatting with you.
Doing the regular show.
Yeah.
Doing the day in, day out, the grind.
Yeah.
We're walking the beat.
Walking the beat.
That's what this
You know what's
is.
funny? You know how you have that thing where either you don't know a word or there's a word you haven't said in a long time, and it comes up, and then after that moment, you start hearing it over and over again? That's been happening with me with the word grind. I used it in a thing I was writing the other day, grind to a halt.
Sure.
And then someone else yesterday said the day sounded like a grind, and then you just said grind right now. I'm having that moment right now. So I just felt like we're all friends here. Why not share that?
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I am glad that you did.
Now I'm going to be passing like a pack of skateboarders, and they'll be like, grind in the curb, or whatever they do.
Whatever they do. All right, Grandpa. Great. You know what they do with the thing that they the thing on the thing. You know.
Yeah, they skate
With
packs,
the grinding.
yeah, grinding the gnar or whatever it is.
Anywho, so you were just in Chicago.
I was back for a good friend of mine's wedding, and it was a great opportunity, obviously, to see her, and the wedding was great, but I also went out with an LA friend of mine who had never been to Chicago, so I got to do the whole touristy thing and see, Millennium Park and Sears Tower and the Bean and the lake, and then also went to my hometown and got to walk around there and see that, and it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I'm going to Chicago in a few days.
I know. I wish I could go back with you.
I know.
I would have liked to have had a few more days.
We're ships in the night, Brian.
I know.
We do need to do get you and Sean and me and just kind of do like the when Slater and Screech and Zach went back to Bayside.
Right.
And they're like, that's Bayside, which is weird actually, because wasn't there college in California?
For them? So they weren't really that far away, is what you...
Yeah, it was like, hey, let's drive down the block to because it was right. I don't remember the high school they went to.
I don't remember the college very well.
The high school was in L.A.
Bayside?
Yeah, that was L.A.
Yeah.
The college it wasn't like, oh, let's all go to Nebraska, right?
Right. Well, yeah. Yeah, Slater's in New York, and yeah, it wasn't like that.
Yeah, everybody ended because Kelly ended up. Why are we talking about this?
I know.
What are we doing? We're on the clock.
I don't know.
Anywho, okay. So, what's new? What's exciting? I know it, Brian. I was saying I don't want to start with the Eeyore intro, but I almost feel like you need to be in the Eeyore scenario because you were so high on MoviePass the last time we talked, and I almost feel like it was you starting to use it that signaled the death knell.
Well, okay, yeah, I have some things to say about this. We got it. Let's bring it down a little bit as we talk about MoviePass here. We've got it. So, Zachy. I'm not sure if you've been following the news lately, but last episode I was pretty high on MoviePass.
Yeah,
and
as you
recommending...
waved the gasoline dispenser around at the gas station, singing and dancing.
Your Zoolander gif was absolutely prophetic. It just the match had not been lit yet. And it's funny because, yes. Okay, well, I'm going to immediately go into my feelings. Let's back up a little bit and explain for people who don't know what's going on here. So I subscribed knowing that this was going to implode to a subscription service where you pay $9.95 a month and you can see one movie every day. And then obviously that is not sustainable for a company, at least a company as small as this one.
Yes.
And everyone knew this was not going to last, including myself. And why I was so high on it last time was I had already used it enough that I had saved $75
Yeah.
just paying $10 for 1 month. So for me, it was just, I was saying, hey, this thing, while it's here, why not enjoy it?
Let the good times roll.
Let the good times roll. And like Zachy in his GIF, it showed, people playing a water fight but using gasoline. So anyway, in the past couple days, what has happened is MoviePass has run out of money to the point where people are showing up to use their passes at the theater and they are not working. So they've had to take out loans. I think they took out more than once.
The company, not the people.
I'm sorry, yes. The company, MoviePass, has taken out a $5 million loan to stay afloat for one night. And they've done it again and again. And then what has happened recently is they have added surge charges. So if you want to go see a popular film at a popular time, you're going to pay $2 extra. And I know that's annoying, but I was still like, hey, whatever, man. I'm still saving like money.
Yeah.
But then Mission Impossible Fallout, one of the biggest movies of the summer, came out, and it was never available anywhere through this service.
Yeah.
Which was really obnoxious. Then what they did was just yesterday, as this was all happening and people were sending me comments and articles and texts, making sure I knew this. Thank you, guys. Then what happened was they basically almost entirely went offline because their whole thing was, we are available for use in 91% of theaters in the country. But as of yesterday, they were available in only about 3% of theaters in the country because they have some, I'm not even going to get into this, but they have a different sort of system with certain theaters called like e-ticketing.
Right.
And so only theaters that support the e-ticketing now, or yesterday were able to use MoviePass. However, I did look this morning just so I was informed before we got on the air, and they are back up. However, they are not accepting Mission Impossible still. So anyway,
and no new releases now.
Yes. So for the next month or two, they're saying, the big releases, anything that's over 1,000 theaters, I believe they said, will not be supported. So something like The Meg or Christopher Robin or any of the sort of big August movies that are coming out.
Yeah, well, not just for the next month or two. Well, first of all, I think even speaking about this company in terms of the next month or two is very generous, but they're saying...
Zachy, I'm drinking my coffee. Don't make me spit it out.
I think that's exceedingly optimistic, right? Oh, yeah, in 2020, when it's like, no.
Right.
I mean, this is a company whose lifespan can probably be measured in weeks, if not days. But what they're saying is that, number one, new releases will not be watchable using MoviePass for the first 2 weeks.
Yes.
Wide releases. And also that they're going to raise the price to $14.95 a month.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's funny because I don't want to look like the guy that's like defending the thing because because I feel like I have to, because I'm not. Most people I completely would say should not do this. I will probably keep it because I've been seeing a lot of smaller movies with it lately. And its ticket prices out here about $17 for a movie.
Okay.
So even at $14.95, I'm still saving money if I see one movie. So for me, I'm going to ride this thing out probably. And even when they were having their Death by 1,000 cuts this past weekend, and I was thinking like, wow, like every time someone sees a movie with this thing, they're hurting it more and more. I thought that as I was walking into 8th grade, having used my MoviePass.
You're like, nah.
But I mean, yeah, I was like, I don't know. I wanted to see this small movie, and that worked out. And I wanted to see Blind Spotting. I still haven't seen, what do you call it? Sorry to bother you. So for me, at least for the next month or two, it's probably still going to be worth it. So I'm going to hang on. However, I will stop being a trumpet blast for it. I mean, because it's probably not the wisest investment.
The thing is, if your business model is such that you are hurting every time somebody uses your service.
Yeah.
That's a fundamental problem.
Yes. I mean, and how did they get this far? I mean, they have a decently functioning app. They have support of different theaters. Like, how did they get this far on an infrastructure that couldn't possibly support itself?
I mean, it's you know, I mean, that's how, you know, it's all VC money,
Yeah.
and they, it's just like it's no different. It's no different than the back in the day with like the .com.
Right. Let the good times roll.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of their websites. Like there's a website called Rocket Gas, where they would you would go to a website and you would order gasoline, and then somebody would come to you and meet you and pump gas into your car.
Huh.
Right, and it's like, well, that's like how do you sustain that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So stuff like that. So it's no different,
Yeah, but I mean, when there are other services now. So, I want to make sure I talked about this because I do feel like this is, and so we had a sort of Facebook thread going on about this yesterday, and our friend Cleve mentioned, that this is the future. There's just going to be a company that is better equipped to support this that will, take the ball and continue running. And I feel like this has been, because I think they said they have 3 million subscribers, and if those 3 million people didn't see Mission Impossible because of this, that movie lost $30 million. So to me, that signals the fact that people do want to go to the movies, but it looks like it's cost prohibitive to a lot of people. And to me, I go because I go and I love it, but I would obviously, as this card has shown, see more if I didn't have to pay, $20 every time.
Right.
So there's something here. We just haven't figured out what it is yet. And it's interesting because now AMC, who was very resistant to stubs, now has their, I forget what it's called. They have their stubs program. But
AMC A-List.
A-List, that's what it is. And theirs is a slightly different, pricing and whatnot and perks, but it's the same idea. And I would totally get it if I lived near an AMC, but I unfortunately don't.
Yeah, I signed up for the AMC program, and it was a no-brainer because the thing with the AMC program is, number one, you can use it to pre-purchase tickets, which you could not do it with the MoviePass.
Right.
So you select your seat and everything, and it's applicable on 3D and IMAX.
Right.
So I wanted to see Mission Impossible on IMAX, and one ticket on Thursday night was $18.50.
Right.
Versus $19.95 for the monthly price, and you can watch Mission Impossible plus 12 more movies in 1 month.
Right.
Or 11 more movies. So total no-brainer,
Yeah.
So
My subscription service wouldn't let me see that movie.
Yeah, see, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I never had any illusions about how long MoviePass was going to last, which was why I was never stupid enough to sign up for the annual, like the people who paid the lump sum at once. That was just asinine, unless you knew you were gonna get your money's worth out of that.
Right.
Right. Because for me, it was like $10 a month. Well, I can, even if I watch one movie a month, I'm in the black,
Right.
But yeah, so R.I.P. MoviePass, if not yet, then eventually.
Yeah, then soon.
Yeah. So, but you did mention that you saw 8th Grade?
Yeah. The our first movie by Bo Burnham.
Yes.
Are you familiar with him?
I am, yeah.
He's an interesting guy, right? Like he sort of started out doing these sort of funny songs on YouTube as like a 15-year-old.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And he's mature. He's still super young, but he's kind of matured into this really interesting comedian. His last special, which I don't have in front of me, it was on Netflix, but I highly suggest it. It was really, really good. It takes you on a journey. It's funny. It's sort of surreal. And then by the end, I was actually moved. Very good. But anyway, yeah, 8th Grade is his debut feature film that he wrote and directed. And it's sort of like a slice of life film where you just follow different periods, different moments with this girl through as she's close to graduating 8th grade and going into high school. Her name's Kayla, the character, and she's played by Elsie Fisher, and she is unbelievable, this girl.
That's what I've been hearing, yeah.
Everybody in this movie is really good, but there's also... So it's like you have these little moments that you remember, and you sort of re-experience them through her, for better or for worse, I suppose. Like one of them, for instance, I'd kind of forgotten about, but there's a moment where they go to visit... They shadow a high schooler. And so, you know, they feel like they're the big kids at their school, but then they go to the high school and they're the little kids. And she's very awkward and uncomfortable in her own grade, but then she goes around these bigger kids and she meets this high school girl named Olivia, played by, I want to call her out, Emily Robinson. She was fantastic. Like, she just felt like a real kid. I can't believe the performances Burnham got out of these kids. But just the way that she sits at this table with these high school kids, trying to sort of be a part of the conversation. The camera stays on her as you're listening to the kids, and you just see her nodding her head and sort of like, yeah, like trying to be a part of the conversation, but she's not a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
It's just filled with those sorts of moments that you've lived through and maybe have kind of forgotten, but they will immediately conjure up. You'll be, oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Been there.
You know, or like the awkwardness of going to a kid's birthday party where you don't really know anyone there, or you're not necessarily friends, but the parents are friends, so you have to go anyway. And just a lot of those sort of uncomfortable moments. But it's ultimately nice as you watch her grow a little bit more comfortable in her own skin. So it's not just torture for an hour and a half.
Right.
This poor person. But yeah, it still has some of the foibles that you might recognize from like a first-time filmmaker.
Okay.
Just a little bit in like some of the script and some of the looseness of it, but at the same time, that also is maybe what makes it kind of charming. Like, it aids to the awkwardness of the proceedings.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I think if people are interested in it, I think it's probably something they're gonna get something out of.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping to check that out. I got a list. I got to see that, and I want to see Blind Spotting.
Yeah, same.
And Sorry to Bother You.
Ditto. That one's like, it's like hovering around number one, but then like Mission Impossible and sort of the big ones keep coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I used my second of my AMC A-list. See, we're like competing. We're
yeah, and we both used the service for each of our movies, though.
we did. Yeah, it was a Friday afternoon, and it's funny because I was in the South Bay, and you know I live in, this is like I live basically about 20 minutes away normally, but like at high traffic time, you're looking at an hour. Mm-hmm. So I was in the South Bay, and I was like, all right, well, I can sit in traffic for an hour waiting to get home, or maybe I'll just watch a movie. And my family's out of town right now, so suddenly I'm bereft of all, you know, human connections or anything like that. Right. So I'm like, all right, well, I've got this A-list thing anyway. So I went and watched Equalizer 2.
Okay. I never saw one. Did you see one?
I did see one.
So how did you like the first one, and then what'd you think of the sequel?
You know, I didn't mind the first one. I didn't like the sequel as much.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I mean, this is Denzel's first ever sequel. Like, you think about that. He has never made a sequel. And so in a way you're like, oh, this is like, you chose this to be your first sequel, you know?
Yeah. That's interesting.
Which then again, he doesn't really do sequelistic movies, right? I mean, you can't see him doing like Glory 2.
Yeah.
Malcolm 11, you know.
Malcolm 11.
You know.
Yeah.
So this, I mean, it's obviously it's based on the old TV show from the 80s, which I'm fairly certain you have not seen.
No.
It's about a guy who's like a formal special ops guy, and he doesn't do that anymore, but he equalizes now. So like if your life is out of balance because somebody's messing with you or whatever, you call him. You call Robert McCall, and he'll fix your problem for you, right?
Okay. So
the first movie was sort of his origin, if you will.
Okay.
And so this one, it's here's the problem I had, because it's directed by Anton Fuqua again, and the first, I would say, like half is actually pretty engaging. I'm not going to say good, but it's engaging, right? And what it is, it's him. It's Denzel just kind of going through his day. Like, he works as like a Lyft driver. And, he'll like... there's people he encounters who he tries to help them and this and that. And, there's this one episode in there where, like, he gets called as a Lyft driver to pick up this woman who's appears to be she's been, like, sexually assaulted or something, at some, like, high-class business party. Right. So he's like taking her home, and then he sees like he's looking at her in the rear view, and he sees she's been messed up, and you're kind of like, oh, geez,
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, and then he like shows up at the people's. It's like their high rise apartment, and he's like, hey, I was just the Lyft driver, and like your credit card didn't work or something, and they're like, oh, okay, come in. And he's like, now listen, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do this. Otherwise, I'm gonna do this. And then these like 5 young punk, rich white kids, like Patrick Bateson types,
Right.
He just tears them up,
Right.
And then it's very funny because like the one guy who's left, he's like, which hand do you use? And he goes like, what? Like, are you right handed or left hand? He's like, right hand. He's like, all right, give me your left hand. And he like breaks his hand,
Right.
But what's funny is he's like, I want you to make sure you give me a 5-star review, okay? 5-star review.
Right.
And I thought it was really funny. But I was like, I would love if that was the whole movie. Like, it's just him with these, like, little episodes, and you just see him going through his day, because I found that stuff very endearing. Not the, like, beating the shit out of people stuff, but just him, and, like, it's not just that, it's the way he interacts with people and stuff, because it's just Denzel, you know what I mean? Like, there's just a joy, and you can appreciate this, in watching Denzel Washington act.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And so, once we get into, like, the plot of the movie, it just got less interesting to me, because there's this whole thing about like Robert McCall, that's the character's name, like his close friend gets killed and he's trying to solve her murder and whatever. And it's just funny because it's like one of the secondary characters is played by Pedro Pascal.
Oh, okay.
Pedro from he's in Narcos, right?
Game of Thrones and Narcos.
And I'm just like, oh, okay, so he's the villain. Like, he's set up as the friend.
Right.
And of course he does turn out to be the villain. That's not even a spoiler because it's so not a spoiler.
Right.
But I'm like, is he just heel turn guy? Like, is that his thing? Because even in Kingsman, remember?
Yeah. I was going to bring that up. I wasn't sure if that was a spoiler.
I mean, at this point, I'm just like, does he just, maybe you should read the script to the end and be like, which character do they want me to play? Flip to the last page. Oh, I'm the villain. Okay, no.
Yeah. He's in Wonder Woman, the next Wonder Woman.
That's the funny thing, because Patty Jenkins shared a picture on Twitter of like, oh, I love watching Pedro Pascal. I'm like, he's the villain. I don't even know if he is, but I know he is,
Yeah.
And it's a shame because he's a good actor.
He's pretty charming. So maybe there's like a nice way to... His charm is sort of smarmy in a way, but like you're still kind of into it. So maybe it's like a way for you to sort of ease into the villain or be fooled by the villain, or you know what I mean?
Yes.
If you keep doing it, then it's not going to keep working.
Yeah, exactly. So especially because this is like 2 movies in a row I've seen him where he's like the charming friend who turns out to be the douchey villain.
Right.
I'm like, okay, let's find a new flavor for Pedro Pascal,
Right.
So I cannot, in good conscience, Brian, I cannot recommend Equalizer 2.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
But I would say probably, first of all, I don't think you would like it at all, Brian. But I think people listening...
Oh, really?
It does not seem like something you would like. I think if you're going to watch one, I would say probably watch the first one.
Okay.
And then after the first one, if you find the character endearing, maybe you'll be inclined. But I would not say just like jump in with this one.
You know what I love?
Yes.
I love that you know me so well, I completely trust you. I'm not even like, well, I don't know. No, I trust you.
I would say, you talk about, like, oh, it's like an Amazon Prime movie, it's a Netflix movie. I would say The Equalizer 1 is probably that.
Okay.
More so than this one.
Okay.
Yeah. But, so that was my experience at the movies, other than Mission Impossible, which we'll talk about in just a few moments. We do have some listener letters, though, Brian, and specifically we have some new reviews up on iTunes.
Yeah.
So worth pointing out here that the kind folks at Vudu reached out to me and they asked us via the Movie Film Podcast to promote the digital release of Avengers: Infinity War. And they gave us 10 digital codes for a UHD 4K copy to give to our listeners. So last week I had asked our listeners, hey, if you like the show, please go to iTunes and leave a review, and we will select 10 of those reviews to get an advanced copy of Avengers: Infinity War. So I've been reaching out to those people now. And if you were listening and you did write a review, check your Twitter inbox, because you may already, if you won, you have a code waiting for you.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so that's kind of cool, and as a result, we got lots of new reviews, but this is one from Saud Ahmed, who says, I was introduced to this podcast through another excellent podcast of mine, Diffuse Congruence, Brian, co-hosted by Pervez. Remember him? We had him on our show.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Pervez.
He's a good guy, Pervez. By the way, a new episode of Diffuse Congruence, very cool. We talked to Brother Ali, he's a hip-hop artist, and it's a fantastic conversation, which I hope people will check out.
Very cool.
But he says, I'm not ashamed to admit that this one, the Movie Film Podcast, is taken over as my number one podcast on my list. It's consistently fun, genuine, and entertaining. I love both your insights on the latest films, especially the spoiler talk. It's like being in a room with a couple of buddies discussing mutual interests. Keep up the great work and making me look forward to my daily commute. That's cool,
awesome.
Right?
That honestly is like one of my favorite things to hear when people say that it feels like they're just sitting down and chatting with us.
Yes.
I love that. That's what I hope for.
I agree. Well, that's because that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
This is from Ryan Lower, and he says, what a fun and informative podcast. I started listening to this for The Dark Knight, so he's a newcomer.
Oh, wow.
I've gone through some of the catalog, and it's a lot of fun to listen to these gentlemen discuss film in an intelligent but relaxed manner. Give it a listen.
Cool. Thank you.
And this is from Maddie Amazing. I love Maddie. He is amazing. That he lives up to his title. And he says his I love the title of his review. Came for the content, stayed for the bromance. Zachy and Brian have casual, insightful conversations about movies you love. From new releases to classic movies like Jurassic Park and the Indiana Jones franchise, they combine reviews and commentary and do it from an unpretentious point of view. Zachy and Brian go against the grain and actually talk positively, but are also honest in their critique. What I enjoy most about the show is the palpable bromance Zachy and Brian have. Their friendship shines through, that it makes you feel like you are in the room with them hanging out. In this day and age where you can throw a stone and hit 10 movie podcasts, the Movie Film Podcast is truly a breath of fresh air.
Oh, man. Wow.
That was a nice review.
Yeah.
I love it. And speaking of the Indiana Jones franchise, later this month we'll be dropping a commentary track for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so I've been looking forward to that. About a year ago, we did our Raiders of the Lost Ark commentary.
Wow, a year ago?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hard to believe.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a little break, Brian, and then we'll come back and talk some trailers.
Let's do it.
All right, Brian, so while we were gone, San Diego Comic-Con happened.
Since we were gone.
Okay.
Sorry. Yes, Comic-Con. Yeah.
When was that song popular? Like early 2000s?
Late 2000s?
Was it late 2000s?
2010-ish or something?
Really?
I could be completely wrong. It just shows how far behind I am.
I need to look up that song now.
Okay, wait. Let's take bets. What year do you think?
I'm gonna say 2007.
Ooh, okay. I was zeroing in around there, so I'll say like 8 or 9.
Okay, so and I didn't realize it was Kelly Clarkson. 2004. Oh man, that was my first guess.
I didn't know that.
I should have trusted my instincts. I didn't realize. Yeah, because Kelly Clarkson was the first winner of American Idol, right?
Yeah,
that was 2002.
I thought that was like a later hit of hers.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize she blew up right out the gate.
Yeah. Well,
You know, I'm
well,
glad
hey,
that we're,
we all
I'm
learned
glad
something
we're
this morning.
spending time talking about Saved by the Bell and Kelly Clarkson. Seriously.
I bet you guys didn't expect that after that. The
Come
break.
for the movies, stay for the American Idol talk.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Taylor Hicks? That's my question. All right. Anyway, while we were gone, Brian, geez, you're like the
What are
dog
you gonna say again?
in Up, squirrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so a bunch of trailers dropped at San Diego Comic-Con, so I wanted to get your takes on these, and we'll start things off with, well, actually, two trailers dropped at Comic-Con, and this is the third trailer just dropped this morning. So the first trailer for Shazam,
Yeah.
which is the upcoming DC superhero movie, attempting, I think, to sort of change the narrative a little bit about DC movies being perceived as too dark and grim and gritty. So we have this directed by David Sandberg, and it stars Zachary Levi as Shazam. Mm-hmm. Let's play some of the audio.
Hello?
Say my name so my powers may flow through you.
But I don't know your name, sir.
Shazam.
Are you for real?
Say it!
Okay! Shazam?
This means Billy!
What is happening?
You're the only person I know that knows anything about this Cape Crusader stuff.
Gentlemen!
You have bullet immunity!
I'm bulletproof.
You're dead.
Sorry about your window, but you're welcome for not getting robbed. Oh, hey, what's up? I'm a superhero.
Okay, so whenever we talk about these like third tier, second tier superhero characters, I'm always fascinated to hear your perspective, because I'm I've grown up soaking in this stuff and you have not.
Right.
So I saw the trailer and I'm like, that looks hella fun. I can't wait to see it. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm somewhere. I'm not as sure, but I'm like, that looks like a fun, different take. I guess I hate to sound like this guy. I don't even like hearing myself say this, but like, I'm starting to get a little like, yeah, another superhero thing. And I like superhero movies, so I don't want to feel this way. But I feel like I've seen so many that it's going to take something vastly different, which we will get to in the next one, to get me sort of excited, which is why I think I had interest in this one. Because I'm like, oh, so this is like this isn't an original thought, but this looks like the movie Big meets a superhero movie.
Yes.
And that, I'm like, okay, well, I haven't seen that. So that had me like, well, that looks like charming. Right?
Yes.
And I don't really know what his big baddie is, and I don't know what this movie's going to be like, but I like that this looks different.
Yes, I agree with
And
you.
lighthearted. Surprisingly so, as you mentioned, coming from DC.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, it's funny because yesterday it kind of broke on Twitter that I guess somebody asked Zack Snyder online, like, who is the dead Robin in Batman versus Superman? Mm-hmm. And because you see the memorial in the trophy room or whatever. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And everyone kind of assumed it was Jason Todd, the second Robin. He says, no, it's Dick Grayson, the first Robin. And that's what Zack Snyder said, and people and Twitter was tearing itself asunder yet again. And I'm like, say what you will about Zack Snyder, about that movie, but the fact that here we are 2.5 years later and people still like diving into that movie, that says something about it.
Yeah, people want these movies to be, well, they are passionate about them as well.
They are, but specifically about Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, my opinion on that movie, I'm not going to get into it again, but I think that is something worth acknowledging. That there's not many movies this many months out that still prompt such fervor, and I think that fervor is sometimes not manifest in the most healthy ways. But to me, I almost found it comical that Zack Snyder did say that. Like, I almost because it means nothing, right? Like it has
right.
It has no bearing on anything, so he could have said anything.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, it's it's Dick Grayson. What do you think of that?
Right.
Like, and it's almost like he just kind of steps back and kind of like rubs his hands together like the devil.
Yeah. He's like, I'll check that again in 4 hours and see what I did. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's hilarious because what I've seen is two camps, right? Because you have some people who are like, no way, it can't be Dick Grayson. Zack Snyder just doesn't get it, man. He just doesn't get it. And then you got the people who are like, the zaddies, who are like, no, if Zack Snyder did it, then there's a reason for it, and we just don't understand his genius. And I'm like, both of you groups, just shut up and stop. It doesn't matter. None of this matters now.
Right.
It does not matter, Like the people who are like fervently being like, "There's no way." Look, Zack Snyder has nothing to do with these movies moving forward.
Right.
So, and that's not a judgment on the man. I'm just like, none of this is. Find something to do. Like instead of the 30 seconds or 3 minutes you're going to spend typing something on Twitter, donate $5 to some charity. That's more meaningful,
Yeah. Yeah, that's much better. I was going to suggest they watch like golden retriever puppy videos, but yeah, that is way better what you just said.
But anyway, so no, I saw the trailer and I'll tell you, it made me laugh. I thought Zachary Levi was just charming.
Yeah, he's always been a guy. I never watched Chuck, but I know he's a guy that people really like. And
and he's someone who was in Thor 2 and 3.
Yeah,
I defy you to tell
right.
me who he played.
Yeah, like his buddy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but was he hidden behind makeup, sort of? So you couldn't really.
He had a blonde wig and like an Errol Flynn beard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and he's in Ragnarok for like a second and a half.
Right.
He's like, hey, what do you? It's like,
well, hey, he's getting those Ragnarok residuals. So.
Exactly. Ragnar residuals.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's jumped ship to the DC universe, and this is a character who goes back to, gosh, I mean, the 40s.
I remember having a book, like a little golden book.
Oh,
of
sure,
Shazam. Yeah, but I don't remember it at all. I just remember my mom saying blah 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 blah, then Shazam.
Well, and it's funny because the character's name was Captain Marvel.
Oh, right. And then we have Marvel's Captain Marvel coming out.
Exactly.
How did that work? How did they both have that, and how did that work out where they, I guess, don't anymore?
Well, Brian, let me... I'm glad you asked, Brian. So here's the deal. So originally, Captain Marvel was not published by DC. It was published by a company called Fawcett, and it was very, very successful. It was so successful that it spawned a spin-off, Captain Marvel Jr., and Mary Marvel, and there was the whole Marvel family. Now, this is before Marvel Comics, by the way.
Oh, wow.
But it was so successful that it was outselling Superman.
Really?
Yeah. So DC National, they sued Fawcett, and they said this character is too similar to Superman. They're like, black hair, strong guy, wearing a cape.
Right.
He's a Superman ripoff. I mean, he's not, right? He's clearly not. But for whatever reason, it was deemed similar enough that Fawcett... and I don't remember if there was a judgment found or Fawcett just couldn't afford the legal battle, but they folded. Mm-hmm. So they just stopped publishing it. And so essentially the character went away, and after a while, two things happened. Number one, the trademark lapsed. And so at that point, Marvel picked it up. But the other thing that happened is DC was like, hey, nobody's publishing Captain Marvel. We'll take him. So they bought him.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So he became a DC character through acquisition. So what happened is in the interim, Marvel became a thing, and they're like, hey, the trademark to Captain Marvel is open. So they created the character Captain Marvel, and we'll talk more about that history when that movie comes out. But DC was like, okay, we're going to bring back Captain Marvel, but they couldn't call the book Captain Marvel. Mm-hmm. So the book was called Shazam. So the book would be like, say the magic word, Shazam, but he's still Captain Marvel in the comic.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, there was actually a TV series in the 70s.
Oh wow!
A live action series from Filmation. There was also an animated series, and so the character remained visible. But I think what what happened is when DC did the whole New 52 relaunch, like back in 2011, I think they realized like we can't, like if we want to merchandise and really media market this character, we can't call him Captain Marvel because it's just there's going to be confusion in the marketplace. So at that point in 2011, they were like, let's just call him Shazam.
Wow. Okay, so that's pretty recent.
It's pretty recent. So that's so in my head, he's always going to be Captain Marvel. That's what I grew up with. But although the movie doesn't say, I believe, as far as I know, he's going to be Shazam in the movie.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So that's who the Beatles are referencing. Captain Marvel zapped him right between the eyes.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, and also interesting that this is total random piece of trivia, but remember in the 70s, Elvis, shortly before he died, used to wear a cape?
Yes.
That was a Captain Marvel. He was inspired by Captain Marvel.
Huh.
Because he grew up reading those comics.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like look at the capes Elvis wore. That's a Shazam cape.
Huh. Funny.
So, neat little random... Impress your friends at a party with that piece of knowledge. Next time you're on a blind date, you're like, listen, Samantha, I don't know if you know this, but, Elvis...
He used to wear a cape modeled after Captain Marvel. For you see, check please. What?
You turn around, she's gone. There's like a dust cloud in her shape,
Yeah, and the chair just rattling. Click, 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 click.
Anyway, so I'm excited for that. I'm excited because I know my kids are going to love it. Like Captain Marvel, that's the beauty of that character. He's the purest wish fulfillment character for kids.
Yeah, and I've been feeling this lately where, I'll watch some sort of superhero movie and it's just really intense and violent. And I'm like, well, I enjoy this because I'm older. But like, I don't know. I feel like there's like this age range of movies that are just sort of missing from existence currently. And this feels like that thing. So it's like perfect for, your kids around like 10 or something like that.
You just look at that trailer. You're like, okay, well, I can take my kids to that, clearly.
Yeah.
But the other big San Diego Comic-Con trailer dropped, and I'll be honest, this is the one I was like stoked for. Saturday morning I woke up and I was like refreshing my Twitter every few minutes because I was hoping they released this, and it's the first trailer for Aquaman.
Yeah.
So let's play some of that.
Your half-brother, King Orm, is about to declare war upon the surface world.
The only way to stop this war is for you to take your rightful place as king.
Trust me, I am no king.
You do your best thinking when you're not thinking at all.
That was the worst pep talk ever.
Now, Brian, I've been on the record about this trailer. Not this trailer, this like movie. I've ever since Jason Momoa's cast, you know me. I've been like signed, sealed, and delivered. I'm on board. So this trailer just confirmed what I believed already about this movie, is that it's going to be pretty solid. I think Aquaman's not going to be like a joke character after this movie.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. But I did not get a lot out of this.
Yeah, you know what's funny is, again, I know you pretty well. So I knew, I was literally, when I saw it, I was like, I know I dig it. I know Brian's going to be like, on this.
Yeah, and I wonder if it comes from the fact that I just don't know the character or necessarily care about the character, having not really grown up with him.
And the fact that you have gotten so many superhero origins lately.
Yeah, it felt super, super familiar, transposed to another place. And I gotta admit, I'm not sure I want to spend 2 hours with this version of Aquaman. He kind of seems like a Monster energy drink drinking. You know what I mean? Kind of like, bro. And like, that's okay, like on a team, but I'm not sure that I am going to find that guy cool for 2 hours. Like,
sure.
Get a little bit on my nerves. But, today, by the way, our episode brought to you by Monster Energy Drink. I realize, I'm like, I don't want to make a judgment on a drink, but, well, I've said this before, right? He's the, ooh, ah, like kind of, superhero. And it's like, I don't know. That's where I'm sitting. But of course I'm going to go see it, and I look forward to hopefully being completely surprised.
Well, there we go.
But tell me from your point of view, as someone who did grow up with Aquaman, and now you're seeing this sort of radical reinterpretation. We've had teased already, but what? Tell me your experience with watching it.
Well, see, that's the beauty of it for me. Okay, so again, it seems like every superhero movie we're about to talk about, I'm always like, well, I grew up with it, and it's like, how many things did you read growing up, Zachy? And you have to realize, I was a huge nerd growing up. I read all of them.
Right.
No, but specifically in the 90s, right? They reinvented Aquaman. So in other words, you had sort of the traditional version of Aquaman, which is like the Ward Cleaver wearing an orange fish shirt, right?
Yeah.
That's sort of what we remember, right, from Super Friends. But in the 90s, they reinvented him, so he was shirtless, and he had long hair and a beard, and he had like a hook for a hand, and it was a run about 80 issues written by Peter David, and he wrote most of that. That was my Aquaman growing up. I mean, that's what I read, and I loved it from the early part of the 90s to the late 90s. So I take some comfort in the fact that the version of Aquaman that is going to be known to the world is that version. My version.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why for me, what's exciting is like, yeah, that's like people are like, that doesn't look like Aquaman. I'm like, it looks 100% like my Aquaman.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I like the fact that they're really diving deep into no pun intended. I was just
gonna say, this is the second time during this episode I've bit my tongue on no pun intended.
Yeah, that was not intentional. That's clever though. Good job patting myself on the back. They're really going into sort of the larger than life Game of Thrones-esque,
Yes.
battle for the throne and that kind of stuff. It's like Thor, kind of similar to Thor.
Yeah.
I think that stuff is interesting when you say, oh, you have two brothers fighting for the throne. I mean, that almost elevates it above a quote-unquote superhero movie, and it makes it something more epic.
See, it's funny because I think that's my thing where I'm like, this feels very familiar on paper, but I know it's coming from an interesting director.
Yes.
And your
James
enthusiasm
Wan, yeah.
honestly adds to it. And so I think in execution, I'm hoping to go in and be like, okay.
Yeah, and I think obviously execution's what it's going to come down to. I'm confident in Momoa, I think, more than you are, just because I like him as a performer. I think he's charismatic. I liked him as Conan the Barbarian,
Oh, see, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that's right, you didn't. Well, you haven't seen the old one either.
I have not.
Yeah, weirdo. What kind of weirdo are you? That's something you need to add that to your list.
I need to fix that.
Yeah. I mean, just to watch. Again, I've said this to you before. Like, not because it's like, oh my God, it's one of the greatest movies ever made, but it feels like something that should be in your library of experience.
Sure.
Hey,
maybe when you come to visit.
Oh yeah, I'll be seeing you in a few weeks.
Yep.
That might be something to check out. Yeah. So that I'm excited because it looks like the Aquaman that I've known growing up, and I'm excited to hopefully finally not have Aquaman be a joke character, because don't you talk to fish, it's like, okay,
right.
I'm tired of that,
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at when it comes to this. Yeah. Now I've said that I'm generally on board for most comic-based superhero movies. I'm not feeling the same way about our next movie trailer, which just dropped. It's just dropped like mere hours ago.
Yeah.
And this is the third trailer for Venom.
Mm-hmm.
So let's play some of that.
I'm Eddie Brock. I'm a reporter. I always seem to find myself questioning something the government may not be looking at. I found something really bad. And I have been... Eddie. Who said that? Taken.
Look around at the world. What do you see? A planet on the brink of collapse. Human beings are disposable. But man and symbiote combined. This is a new race, a new species. A higher life form.
What do you want from me? You'll find out.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is also one of those things where I'm like, I wish I could come up with a really articulate way to explain myself, because I feel like I'm just saying, like, it's too limiting to say that I'm getting tired of superhero films, because that's not true. I enjoy superhero films. I'm getting tired of seeing similar superhero films.
But the world has too many superheroes, Brian. Or something like that. That's what the tag.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
And this just feels, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Just something about this just can't. Whatever hook it is, it's not hooking me. I don't know. Tell me. Well, and again, I'm not super familiar with this guy, but I feel like I've sort of seen this before. Like the guy wrestling with the thing and doing the thing he doesn't want to do, and.
Well, you know what I've seen already is Tom Hardy playing a comic book character and me having a hard time understanding him.
That's a thing I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring up, because I don't know what Tom Hardy's voice is actually like. I didn't want to pick on his voice too much, but he's doing something interesting here that I think is as interesting as his Bane voice, let's say.
So you're talking about his Venom voice?
Well, it's actually at the beginning when he's being himself.
Yes.
I think he's like British, right?
He is British, yes.
So he's doing, he's
doing a British guy doing a Jersey accent in San Francisco.
yeah, and it's very sort of staccato and like Bane, oddly sort of musical in a way to the ear that I keep wanting to hear more, but I'm not sure I like it. And then at the end, the little tag at the end of this trailer, Zachy listened to me watching it because I hadn't seen it yet. And I was like, I have no idea what he just said there in the last 15 seconds of that trailer. And you were like, yep.
Yeah. It's like, and that is Tom Hardy doing the Venom voice. And then they're doing something, obviously they're modulating it. But I'm like, if that's how he's going to sound in the whole movie, I'm going to be like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just didn't find him compelling enough and his situation compelling. Like, it just feels like, yeah. I don't know. It just feels retread.
Yeah, I mean, I've said to you before that the one and only reason I have any interest in watching this is because Tom Hardy is in it. And I think Tom Hardy makes very interesting selections.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, it's kind of like, I mean, maybe this is a bad analogy, but Tom Cruise doing The Mummy, right?
Oh, okay.
You and I.
See, I don't feel as strongly for Tom Hardy as that.
I mean, I'm kind of like, Tom Hardy has his pick of franchises, but he chose this.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me.
Good point.
And so that's. I mean, I'm ready to be surprised. I'm not in any way a fan of Venom. And I see it. A lot of my students are really excited for this movie. They're big Venom.
Oh, really?
fans. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe they just missed me, and that's fine. But definitely people who are a few years younger than us have much more affinity for the character. That's been my experience anyway.
And that totally makes sense. I think for me, this feels sort of stock. Like everything I saw felt stock.
Yes.
But like if I was more familiar with this character or cared about it, I'm sure I would feel differently.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Because I'd be seeing the thing I love,
Yeah, no, so I think you're right.
That component I think was missing for me.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Regardless, well, speaking of superhero movies, I guess this makes for a somewhat awkward transition into our headlines.
Yeah, sure.
So Brian, life comes at you fast, and I think James Gunn is somebody who ran headfirst into that truism over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Because this is a story that we now. I mean, let's not even bury the lead. Essentially, what has happened since the last time we talked is that James Gunn has been fired by Disney from directing Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and he was fired as a result of several tweets that he had written about 10 years ago, making really in poor taste and not remotely funny jokes about pedophilia and rape, etc. Yeah. So those jokes resurfaced. And they resurfaced for really questionable reasons, but regardless, I mean, in the cold light of day, it was hard to defend that, and he didn't, and Disney didn't, and so he was removed. And that happened within 12 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the fascinating thing, because this was a story that I was sort of by accident watching unfold live, because I happened to be on Twitter as these tweets came up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like this, and then I was on Twitter as James Gunn put out a series of tweets, sort of apologizing and reflecting on his journey as a person, as a filmmaker, and then again, that was in the evening, and by morning he'd been fired. The damage was done.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the backstory here is that these tweets surfaced because he was critical on Twitter of Donald Trump, extremely critical of Donald Trump. And so certain pro-Trump Twitter accounts trolled him by using his own Twitter history against him. Mm-hmm. Now, the same people who trolled him are the people who've propagated things like the Pizzagate conspiracy and, like men's rights activists, real scumbag people. Mm-hmm. But regardless, I mean, this stuff is out there. And it's a fascinating window into, I don't know what we can call it, internet justice.
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was interesting, too, after this happened. What's the guy's name? Dan Harmon.
Dan Harmon, yeah.
Immediately, deleted his Twitter account, and then Ryan Johnson, culled a crap load of tweets.
Yeah, I mean, and a bunch of people, and people were like, "Oh, what are you hiding, Ryan?" And I think Ryan Johnson was like, "Well, I'm not. As far as I know, I'm not hiding anything, but I don't see any good by having all these brain droppings from a decade ago."
Yeah, and that was by no means an indictment on him, but yeah, it's funny because I mean, when you think about. And this is in no way a defense of what James Gunn said, because I don't think that was ever funny.
Exactly.
10 years ago he thought it was, and it never was. But it's interesting how with Twitter, you can say you're in a comedy club, and you can say something shocking to your audience, and they go, and they kind of respond to it, and then you move on. But Twitter, that fart in, that brain fart in a moment lives until you delete it. So 10 years later, that can still exist, and it makes for think before you tweet kind of a thing. And is this really something that you want to say that represents you?
Well, and that's the question, right? I mean, and let me ask you, because you and I haven't talked about this. I mean, how do you feel about what happened to him?
Well, it's interesting because this sometimes happens a lot to, say, a senator or a congressman that you don't like. So you're like, yeah, good. But It's interesting when it happens to a guy you do like, but then you see what it is. You're like, oh, well, that's not good. So
yeah.
It's I don't know. It's ask me in 5 minutes and I might feel differently.
Yeah, but, it's. I mean, I'm torn, Brian. I really am, because not because I think what he said is defensible, because it's absolutely not. It's abhorrent. I mean, if you see the tweets in question, and I mean they're not hard to find. I mean, you're like, why would you ever say something like this?
Yeah,
it's clear he was trying to be shocking.
Yes,
but. I mean, my rule of thumb for, it's funny because I always bug you. I'm like, you should use Twitter more. You have such a great sense of humor. And this is the best reason to not use Twitter, because what the hell,
Yeah.
Not to say you would make jokes like that, but it's you don't know what of yours is going to be taken out of context.
Yeah.
And I tell my students, I'm like, before you tweet something, ask yourself, if somebody who doesn't know you sees this tweet, doesn't see the one before it, doesn't see the one after it, and doesn't know you, what are they going to think about you?
Right.
And that's a good rule of thumb, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think with what you just asked me and what I think about it, this reminds me, Dan, my brother, and we always joked about how I was more like Batman and he was more like Superman. Where when I hear someone doing something wrong, I'm like, throw him away and throw away the key. You shouldn't be doing that, and da-da-da-da-da. And he's the type of person where he's like, well, let's talk to this person. Let's see where this person's coming from. Let's try to help them. And I always go, oh, darn it, you're right. And so it reminds me of that in the way that this was a long time ago. And It doesn't mean it's ever okay, and he should absolutely apologize. But we definitely should be the type of people, I feel, that can believe people can change.
Yes.
And can grow and can be forgiven. And that's like how I would like to live my life. Even though it's a struggle sometimes with people. And so you do have to look at a person and have they changed? Have they grown? Are they different? Do they look back and condemn the old past versions of themselves? And
and that's the thing, Brian, because number one, he said this 10 years ago, and he says, "Look, I'm not that person anymore." And now that being said, he was in his 40s when he tweeted this stuff, so there's also that, right? Because I'm like, well, I'm not in my 40s, but I know better than to tweet that. So I mean, there's a judgment issue there, right? I mean,
yeah.
But that being said, the capacity to change, right? And already people are making the comparisons to Roseanne.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, and I don't think we have seen much growth in her recently, but right. I was going to say, if with what I just said, you do have to be fair and apply that to people you don't like as well.
Well, right. So that's the thing. When you look at somebody like Roseanne, you have to be like, well, she said this like a month ago.
Right.
And she's still saying crazy stuff, right? So
right.
It's not a 1-to-1 comparison.
No, that one specifically. No.
Yeah, but it does feel like folks on the right wanted their scalp after Roseanne, and they got it with James Gunn.
Sure.
And that's unfortunate that everything in life now, Brian, is filtered through this
I know,
freaking toxic political prism.
Yep.
Everything. I mean, it did not used to be like this.
Yeah.
Just mere years ago, it did not used to be like this.
Yeah.
Right. So that's something. I don't know. I don't know what the right thing was here. I understand why Disney did what they did.
Yeah. Got on top of it before.
Yeah. It was either this or have to, from now until Guardians 3 comes out. Okay, Disney, do you agree with this joke? Do you think this is funny? Do you think this is fun? And every actor would have had to deal with it. I mean, I get I get why they did it. I'm not sure I agree with them doing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's tough too, though. Like you said, though, it's something that was written. Because if you say something dumb and then you try to change and grow and whatever, that's one thing. But like this was written in concrete for all to see.
Yes.
Right. And like you said, Disney would have to answer to that writing in concrete every day.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing about Twitter.
Yeah, I mean it's not just it's not just a way to communicate. It's a stick pin in time of who you were at that particular moment.
Yes.
And I mean I haven't delved into my Twitter history, but I don't believe I've ever been I've certainly never made jokes like that, but even I've tried. I don't tweet when I'm upset. That's my general rule of thumb.
Probably good rule of thumb. Yeah.
But it's like, is this the new normal now? Is that like, oh, you said this thing 15 years ago, and so is that how we're going to be defining our experience with the world now?
Which is interesting too. That reminds me, and I after we moved on, I couldn't believe I didn't bring this up, but a huge component of the film 8th Grade is technology.
Sure.
In these kids' lives now. Like they're all on Instagram and, like in 8th grade, these boys in class want nude pictures of these girls and things like that. And I mean, talk about a stick pin in time. You know what I mean? Like you take some picture and send it to some boy because you're feeling vulnerable and you want some guy to like you. And that thing exists until who knows how long it exists.
Jeez.
So it's a whole and also, the movie was showing how normalized it is for kids to be filming themselves all the time and putting themselves out there all the time and making these sort of like vlogs or YouTube videos or whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, now everyone, it's becoming. I'm sort of wary of putting myself out there like that, but for younger people, this is completely normal.
So weird.
Yeah, especially at a younger age when you're way more likely to say things you're going to regret later.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but it's a mess. I mean, honestly, I saw yesterday that the Guardians of the Galaxy cast released a letter in solidarity with them. Did you see this?
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. Yeah, Yeah, which is interesting.
So yeah,
All signed by them.
I mean, I think it's worth reading. What do you think?
Sure.
So essentially, this was tweeted out by Zoe Saldana and Chris Pratt posted it on Twitter, and it is it's signed by the entire cast. So Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Bradley Cooper, and Vin Diesel. Also Michael Rooker, Palm Clementif, and Karen Gillan. So all the Guardians. Essentially. To our fans and friends, we fully support James Gunn. We were all shocked by his abrupt firing last week and have intentionally waited these 10 days to respond in order to think, pray, listen, and discuss. In that time, we've been encouraged by the outpouring of support from fans and members of the media who wish to see James reinstated as director of Volume 3, as well as discouraged by those so easily duped into believing the many outlandish conspiracy theories surrounding him. Being in Guardians of the Galaxy movies has been a great honor in each of our lives. We cannot let this moment pass without expressing our love, support, and gratitude for James. We are not here to defend his jokes of many years ago, but rather to share our experience, having spent many years together on set, making Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. The character he has shown in the wake of his firing is consistent with the man he was every day on set, and his apology now and from years ago when first addressing these remarks we believe is from the heart, a heart we all know, trust, and love. In casting each of us to help him tell the story of misfits who find redemption, he changed our lives forever. We believe the theme of redemption has never been more relevant than now. Each of us looks forward to working with our friend James again in the future. His story isn't over, not by a long shot. There's little due process in the court of public opinion. James is likely not the last good person to be put on trial. Given the growing political divide in this country, it's safe to say instances like this will continue, although we hope Americans from across the political spectrum can ease up on the character assassinations and stop weaponizing mob mentality. It is our hope that what has transpired can serve as an example for all of us to realize the enormous responsibility we have to ourselves and to each other regarding the use of our written words when we etch them in digital stone. That we as a society may learn from this experience and in the future will think twice before we decide what we want to express, and in so learning perhaps can harness this capability to help and heal instead of hurting each other. Thank you for taking the time to read our words, the Guardians of the Galaxy. I found that letter incredibly profound. Not only, obviously, I mean, we get why they're supporting him, but I mean, the things that they're saying are entirely apt, right? Specifically, the idea of weaponizing mob mentality. That's entirely applicable to what's been going on lately.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's funny because one bit there, I mean, it almost feels like that was like Chris Pratt, because Chris Pratt kind of took some grief recently. I don't know if you remember this.
Remind me?
This is such bullshit, man. Kevin Smith had a heart attack.
Oh, yes.
Remember this? So
yeah.
Chris Pratt tweeted Kevin Smith, I want you to know I'm praying for you, prayer work, something like that. Something that is entirely innocuous.
Mm-hmm.
And people just started shitting all over him on Twitter. Like, what are you talking about, prayer works? And don't tell him to pray. That doesn't mean anything. And it's like, look, I get if you're not religious, that's fine. But look at the sentiment in the spirit it was sent.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Chris Pratt's not sitting there like Kevin Smith. Have you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior? He's not doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People have different ways of expressing kind sentiments.
Yes.
And Chris Pratt expressed a kind sentiment to his friend, and in response, people took time
to be shitty,
to conjure hate.
Yes.
You know, that was their response to a kind sentiment, and it feels very counter to what I imagine. I don't know. It's absurd.
I mean, I can imagine Pratt tweeting that out, and then he goes off to do whatever he does. When he's not filming a movie, he comes back to his phone, and he's got 500 mentions.
Yeah.
Of just toxic nonsense.
Yeah, sorry I said something nice to my pal.
I mean, it's weird because it really gets. I mean, this is far beyond what we had intended to talk about. But really, the cesspool that social media allows for.
Yeah, you take the good, you take the bad.
You take them both, and then see that's in my head now. The facts of life. The facts of life. Well, it is a fact of life that James Gunn is not directing Guardians 3. I cannot imagine a scenario where Disney reverses themselves.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I could imagine a possibility, but in this discussion now, the thing that really stuck with me about what you said is people will always be able to hold up those moments in time, and Disney will always have to answer to them.
Yeah,
and that makes it, yeah.
I mean, now that they have already fired him, how do you undo that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because here's the problem.
Decision.
Here's the thing, Brian. It's BS how this happened, because the guy this guy Mike Cernovich, who essentially led who steamrolled James Gunn, he's the guy behind Pizzagate and all this. He is the furthest thing from any kind of a moral authority, right?
Sure.
Unfortunately, he happened to find a target who had these skeletons in his closet.
Mm-hmm.
Not that James Gunn is a pedophile, of course, but even the jokes are so far beyond the pale that it's like you can't defend it.
Right.
Right? So it's like, yes, this evil a-hole got a win, but it's like this, right? Like what happened with Al Franken in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Politically, like I like Al Franken. I agree with Al Franken. I think it was a smear campaign, but he did the thing.
Right.
It's like, I'm not going to defend that because, well, you did something you shouldn't have done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like that.
Right.
I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So I'm curious. I don't know who's gonna do. I don't know who's gonna do Guardians 3. I'm very curious.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Sign of the times.
Yeah, that's true. Another sign of the times, Brian, is that movies are increasingly skipping big theatrical releases and going straight to streaming. And I feel like this next movie might be like the biggest example of a straight to streaming movie that we have.
Oh, easily. I mean, the biggest one so far up to this point has probably been the last Cloverfield film.
Yes.
Which is a big deal because it's produced by J.J. Abrams, and those other movies have been...
And it's kind of a franchise.
Yeah, kind of a franchise, and they do fairly well. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I think it was during the Super Bowl, we got an ad that was like, oh yeah, actually that Cloverfield movie's on Netflix right now. And you're like, what? And it turns out people didn't think it was very good.
Yes, which is why it went to Netflix.
Yeah, which kind of made sense. They thought it was going to be a loss. So they were able to recoup some money by selling it to Netflix, and there you go. But a couple years back, when Disney was doing their Jungle Book movie that Jon Favreau made, it was also news that Andy Serkis was going to be making his directorial debut with another Jungle Book adaptation called Mowgli.
Yes,
and it seemed odd that would happen, but they kept saying, "Well, this one's going to be different. This one's going to be." Closer to the books, and it's going to be darker. It's going to be the gritty Jungle Book. And then out of the blue, this past week, we hear like, oh yeah, that huge movie is actually going to go straight to Netflix. And it's like, ooh.
Yeah, and it's weird that you had that reaction because they, all the statements tried to gussy it up. Like, oh, this is the best way to get the movie out there. Like Andy Serkis, what's he going to say, right? Oh, we're really happy that our movie's skipping theaters. But I almost feel like straight to Netflix has come to be synonymous with straight to video.
Yeah, and that could evolve and change. I mean, this is a movie that has Christian Bale, Cate Blanchett, Benedict Cumberbatch, Naomi Harris, Andy Serkis. I mean, this is like a big, expensive movie.
Yes.
And here's what I think, and this is my speculation. Out here where I live, they test movies a lot, so you get to go see a movie a year before it comes out, and then they gauge the audience reaction and they tweak accordingly. And I know that they just tested Mowgli about 2 weeks before this announcement.
Oh, interesting.
My guess is they were like, oh crap, like kids are gonna hate this movie, or this movie's too scary. Like, we live in such a homogenized theatrical going experience these days where it was always sort of the thing where there's like, oh, there's 4 quadrants, and this fits the 4 quadrants. But literally now every movie has to fit the 4 quadrants. And my guess is that this movie didn't. and it's a big investment for them, and they went too far to go back. And so now, they say, if you want to be in an interesting movie or a romantic comedy or some sort of drama, you have to go to Netflix and either be a series or something like that. And so I wonder if this was a big budget movie that they're like, oh crap, what quadrant is this for?
I mean, I was asking that question when I saw the trailer.
Yeah.
I was like, it looks like a beautifully made movie, but who's it aimed at?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it was weird because even like, Hamza, my oldest, when we went to see, I don't remember what we saw, but they had the Mowgli trailer in front of it. And he leans over, he's like, again?
Yeah, right.
And I was like, that's what most kids are going to say.
Yeah, and the Disney one was fantastic.
That didn't help.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. This thing had everything working against it.
So it's kind of a shame. But my question, I mean, I know you're probably going to watch it.
Probably.
Yeah.
I actually didn't watch the trailer, so I don't. Even with the theater, I probably would have liked to have heard what people think before I made it my number one choice that weekend. But
yeah.
I have done that.
You watched Bright.
I was going to say, well, Bright,
no
and I was even going to go
here.
even more embarrassing. Sometimes when the Adam Sandler ones drop, I'll start them.
All right. Did you see the latest Adam Sandler one where it's like him and Chris Rock, I think, and the kids are getting married or something?
Fool me 5 times, shame. But
I watched about 10 minutes of that, and then I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? And
yeah.
I found a YouTube video of test patterns that I just...
But there is something about seeing these big movie stars, like Will Smith in Bright, in a movie that looks like a big movie that is immediately available in my living room. There's something to that. And, if they burn the audiences too many times, it's not going to be special. But if this is a good movie, like, whoa, that was dark and I didn't expect that, but hey, that wasn't bad, then that could be something for Netflix. I don't know.
I suppose. Yeah. I don't know. I'm maybe this is the thing that proves like Netflix is actually the perfect place for a movie like this.
Well, and also Annihilation was another film where the U.S. it was released theatrically, but around the world it went straight to Netflix because it's a bonkers movie.
Yes, that's right. I really liked that, by the way. I just saw it recently.
How about that ending, man?
Yeah, that's. Yeah. I mean, that's a movie. It's best to not know anything about it. Just watch it.
Yeah,
and sort of experience it because it's complex.
Yes, it doesn't fit in a box.
Yeah, right. You can see why it tanked in the theaters. That's entirely understandable. Speaking of movies that will likely tank in the theaters, we got this. Well, tell me about this Ryan Reynolds project.
Okay, I want to talk about this thing because I have less about what it is and more about thoughts I have on movies and reading about movies these days. So Ryan Reynolds is going to be making an R-rated reinterpretation of the movie Home Alone called Stoned Alone.
Get it? Stoned Alone.
Stoned Alone. So this is the synopsis that was on Deadline. Stoned Alone is reminiscent of that hallowed comedy classic. It centers around a 20-something weed-growing loser who misses the plane for his holiday ski trip. He makes the best of things by getting high. Paranoia sets in, and he believes he hears someone break into his house. Turns out thieves have broken in. Fully stoned and fueled by paranoia, he tries to thwart the thieves and defend his castle. So it's Home Alone starring a stoned adult.
Yes.
And as I read that, I was like, oh, come on. However, then I thought about it, and I was like, if I didn't know anything about this movie, so nowadays we know everything about every movie that's going to happen, sometimes a year or more before it comes out. So when it comes out, we already have formed opinions on it. We know which directors have been fired. We know this writer was let go and another writer was brought on. We know so much about it. We carry that in with us. And then I thought, what if I went to the movies and I saw a trailer that looked like they were going to make a sequel to Home Alone, but then it all of a sudden cut to a close-up of a 20-something-year-old slapping his face with the aftershave and screaming. And he's high, and then you see these burglars breaking in, and he's like fumbling his way, defending his house. I was like, that actually might catch me by surprise and make me laugh.
That's interesting. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
So I thought this was one of those instances where, I mean, this is the world we live in now, but I don't know. I think we've lost a little something when we can't be surprised by these things anymore. So that's all I had. That was the thought I had when I read about this one.
No, I think I have to admit you've given me a new perspective on it.
Right? Like if this caught you by surprise, you'd be like, "That looks kind of funny." What a funny idea.
Kind of came out of nowhere,
But yeah, reading on paper, you're like, "Oh, that feels like such an idea someone would come up with." Like you have like a sort of different take on it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I don't know. Remains to be seen if it gets made at all. But
well, with that in mind, there's one last thing I wanted to get your take on because you are a big 24 fan.
Yeah,
and it seems like Fox is hell bent on keeping this brand alive, become hell or high water.
Yes,
and so now they did this 24. What was it called? Legacy.
Yeah, sounds right.
Did you watch that? You didn't watch that.
I fell out about 3 episodes in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it just didn't work for you?
Yeah. I watched all the seasons, and then they had that limited season that I think was about 12 episodes.
Yes.
And it was just right. Like, it was 12 even felt better than 24. It was a little tighter. I mean, it didn't have a satisfying conclusion, but it seemed to have a conclusion, and it was like, all right. Like, it felt like they went out on a high note. And a lot of that show is the energy of Jack Bauer, or of Kiefer Sutherland, I guess I should say. And, when they try to introduce a new character into a similar sort of outline, it just, I don't know. It didn't have the same energy or vitality as the past did. It almost felt like the moment had passed.
Wow, okay.
So I'm still open to it. And I would even be open to another season with I forgot the actor, the guy who was in Straight Outta Compton. He played Dr. Dre.
Corey Hawkins.
Yes. He was fine. I just didn't find myself wrapped up in what was going on. It felt overly familiar at this point.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Well, if if you thought that sounded overly familiar, the newest attempt that they are in development on is a prequel to 24. So it would be young Jack Bauer.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. That's sort of like when they were talking about that prequel to Die Hard.
They're right. I was thinking about that.
Dude, Bruce Willis is Bruce Willis. Kiefer Sutherland, just don't. Don't think you can recreate them with like a new person.
Yeah.
That rarely works.
It seems like just the idea that you can pass a character off to another actor. I mean, hell, we saw what happened when they tried to do that with Han Solo.
Yeah, exactly.
People we're not having it.
No, they rejected it.
And it's funny because there is that Taken TV series, which is a prequel to the films.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen. I think it may have just gotten canceled, but it lasted like 2 seasons.
Oh wow,
weird, right?
Yeah, it'd be hard to see someone pretending to be like Liam Neeson, though.
Yeah, how do you? That doesn't make much sense at all.
Yeah, not my Liam Neeson.
That's
not my Brian O'Halloran or whatever his name is.
Brian O'Halloran is Dante from Clerks.
From Clerks, yeah.
I'm not even supposed to be here today. I wasn't supposed to be here.
Brian Mills. Brian Mills is the character's name.
Brian Mills.
And I don't know why I know that, because I've seen only the first Taken movie, and it was terrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't like it. I'm not a fan of those movies.
Yeah. They're not good.
No, they're not. And this 24 prequel, I'm very curious if it actually ends up happening, but my money would be on it not happening.
Yeah, but I completely understand the business decision behind it. Existing IP, it's proven, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly. Back to the well, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of going back to the well, Brian, I'm hearing some music.
Hey-o!
So, Brian, lots of Star Wars news.
Yeah, well, we have a big cast lineup that was officially announced. And I think we're not entirely surprised, but I think we're all happy to hear that Carrie Fisher will be seen in Episode 9. And what we learned from J.J. Abrams himself is that they're going to be mining through previously unreleased footage that had been shot for Star Wars Force Awakens and finding ways to repurpose it into the narrative of Episode 9.
So I'm sure right away when I read this, I thought of that episode of The Simpsons where they're filming the Radioactive Man movie.
Yes.
And Milhouse runs away. They're like, well, the editor's like, don't worry, we can complete the movie with other footage
that we've already shot. Yeah.
And you see it, and it's terrible. You can see it on YouTube. But
in one shot, they're like on planet Mars, and then another shot, they're like somewhere else, and then another shot, they're somewhere else, all in one scene. Yeah.
It's like they're about to fight somebody. He's like, let's do this, radioactive boy, Fallout boy. And then like Milhouse is sitting on the couch in his house. Okay. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, one assumes this will not be that. But I had a couple thoughts. I was like, the fact that they announced this tells me that they found something that'll work.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? They wouldn't make this announcement if they're like, hey, yeah, we're going to look into the footage and, hey, maybe we'll find something.
Yeah, they have to know. They have to know this is going to work.
So clearly they've combed through every piece of footage and they've scripted around that footage.
Yeah. And you know, there's a lot to live up to even in that moment, because we're all going to have something that we bring with us in those scenes, because we know she's passed. Talking about this, we know how the sausage is made.
Yes.
We know that this is culled from other things. Like, we're going to unfortunately have all that in the back of our minds, so we're going to be watching those scenes differently. So, you know, they're going to have to make sure that the seams aren't showing.
That's the thought. I mean, it's you know, people are going back and forth like, oh, they shouldn't have done this, it's disrespectful, whatever. And I'm like, well, I think this seems like the most respectful thing to do.
Oh yeah, instead of some sort of CG character,
or to just be like, oh, Leia died on her way back to her home planet.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah, that would be very unsatisfying. And I'm sort of heartened by the fact that they have what they feel is a satisfying conclusion for her in this, you know.
And by the way, I mean, that's not to say that the conclusion even has to be her dying.
Exactly.
I was thinking about that. I was like, you know, I mean, Paul Walker, they didn't kill him off in Fast and Furious.
Yeah, he goes off literally into the sunset.
Yeah, you know, so it's one of those things where it's like, look, this is Princess effing Leia.
Yeah.
You don't just kill her off screen. And the other thing is, you know, in past instances, I mean, you know, we look at like the way they wrote off Oliver Reed's character in Gladiator.
Right.
And, you know, for those of you who don't know, and maybe at this point Gladiator's old enough that people may not remember this, but Oliver Reed, he played the character Proxima. The character was supposed to live until the end of the movie.
Mm.
And so the scene at the very end where Jaimin Hunsu is burying the doll, you know, of Maximus,
yeah,
that was supposed to be Proxima.
Ah.
You know, and then Oliver Reed dies in the middle of the movie because he drunk himself to death. And they're in this position where, again, it's like, well, we can't just not see Proxima again because he's an important character.
Mm-hmm.
So they contrived a death scene for him, and they did it by going back and looking at every piece of footage that he had shot. Mm-hmm. And they found a way that, honestly, if you don't know about any of the behind-the-scenes stuff, you're like, oh, well, obviously it was written that way. Right? His death scene is so perfect that you're like, of course, you know. So I believe fully that filmmakers have the ability to do this.
And I mean, especially now, since Gladiator, 18 years later or something like that, with technology. I mean, they can remove backgrounds. They could probably change your clothes.
Yeah.
You know?
And by the way, you know, they've taken great care to be like, oh, and it's not going to be CG. You know what? There's probably going to be a little bit of CG.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure from behind. I'm sure, you know, if she's walking down a hallway, I imagine they'll get a double or something.
Yeah, and I mean, even in Furious 7, there were several shots of Paul Walker, like head on, that were digitally created.
Right.
So I think they're just being smart by not saying that, because that when you say that, you preemptively piss people off.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But well, yeah. Good.
No, that's just. I mean, I agree with you. I'm glad that we will see her again. She gets to finish this trilogy out. I mean, I have a feeling that's what she would have wanted.
I would think so. Yeah. And another little thing to mine from this statement, though, is he says, finding a truly satisfying conclusion to the Skywalker saga without her eluded us. And he mentions this is a conclusion to the Skywalker saga.
Yeah. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, then obviously she has to be involved.
Well, yeah, and that provides a good segue into the story yesterday where Mark Hamill tweeted about how he's feeling the burden of sadness of sort of beginning his final chapter without having her there.
Man, if you follow him on Instagram, a lot of times he posts pictures throughout the years of him and Carrie Fisher and sometimes Harrison Ford, and they've been on this journey for a very long time, and it's something that I'm sure only they can relate to with one another.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and I mean the fact that he said something. He said something to the effect of referring to it as his final chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tweeted in response to that. I was like, I felt myself getting emotional reading that.
Yeah.
Not only because obviously he's missing Carrie Fisher, but also just the finality of Luke Skywalker being like, I'm about to fight my last battle, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird.
And so I tweeted that, and this is just my tangential connection. That tweet ended up getting picked up by CNN, and they did a whole story.
Yeah.
Where it was like Mark Hamill bids farewell to Carrie Fisher, and it was like, here's what Zaki Hassan said on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah, that was awesome, and it was a really. Do you have it actually? It was a really great statement.
Let me see if I can find it.
Sorry, I should have had it on hand, so I could have brought it up.
So this is what I wrote. I said, so Mark Hamill writes, it's bittersweet facing my final chapter without her. She is simply irreplaceable. I'm finding solace in the fact that she won't be replaced and would love the worldwide outpouring of affection from those who loved her when they heard the news. So I responded with, I got teary-eyed just reading this, not only because of the heartfelt sentiment expressed, but also the stark inevitability in, quote, my final chapter. Whatever form Star Wars takes next, our journey with Luke Skywalker will soon be coming to a close. What a ride it's been. And I mean,
that's a great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And so I put that out there, and then it turned into a Twitter moment, and then a friend messaged me on Facebook yesterday. She's like, "Hey, you're in the CNN article." And it's this CNN article. It's Mark Hamill bids farewell to Carrie Fisher. Here's what Zaki Hassan had to say. Here's what John Boyega had to say, and that's
you're the only two people.
Yeah, and I'm
referencing it.
Obviously, when Luke Skywalker announces retirement, you want to hear from Zaki and Finn in that order.
Right. Well, I do personally, so I'm enjoying this.
So that was obviously very surreal, but it is. I mean, it is a moment, and I hope all the nastiness of Star Wars fandom will go away. I doubt that it will.
Yeah,
but I hope because this is. Let's acknowledge the fact. Think about this, Brian. 6 years ago, at this time exactly, the notion of a sequel trilogy was fantasy.
Yeah.
There was going to be no more Star Wars. And it wasn't even at the forefront of our thoughts. It was just no, Star Wars is done.
Right.
And now, not only is it a thing, it's almost over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, at least, they're going to keep making them.
Right. But the sequel trilogy that we had been, heard about as a mythical thing for decades.
Yeah, this is 9 films that Lucas always talked about.
Yeah.
Not only did it actually happen, but it's now coming to an end.
The saga will likely continue, but as we've said before, the one that was connected to us, the version of Star Wars that was connected to us, is going to move further and further away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No pressure, JJ.
No, I know. Seriously, God, he must be I have to imagine he's just sweating buckets.
I bet. I bet. Well, I'm rooting for him.
Yeah. Obviously, we want this to be the best it can be.
Yep.
So with that, why don't we take a little break, and then when we come back, we will talk about Mission Impossible Fallout. And we're back, and so is Ethan Hunt, Brian.
I know, and I've been looking forward to this all year.
It's weird how the Mission Impossible movies have kind of become that. They've become that franchise that you're like, oh, well, that's something that's something I know I'm gonna enjoy, and I'm just looking forward to when I get to sit in the theater and enjoy it.
Yeah, I saw this with my brother, and I was telling him about how I rewatched the last ones, and I was getting really into them again, and remembering how much I liked them, and how much I was looking forward to this one, and he was like, "Oh, so these are your Fast and Furious movies?" And I was like, "Yep, I think they are."
Now explain that. That's interesting.
Well, it's a series that began one way and then I forgot. There was more to this. I was telling him what each one was like, and I said that it sort of reinvented itself at the third one.
Yes.
And it's sort of carried forward from that, and it's become this thing where I love that these come out now every couple of years, and they, advancing the story and blah, 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 blah. And so I think it resembled the Fast and Furious series for him in that way, where I think a lot of people would say it reinvented itself around 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And then became this action franchise that you just sort of looked forward and counted on further installments.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when it comes to Mission Impossible, the number 3, I called it the repilot.
Yeah.
Because everything since then has really tonally been indebted to that one. I actually just rewatched the first 2 for the first time basically since they came out. So it's 96 and 2000 respectively. I actually made a guest appearance on Tim Rooney's Anything Goes podcast, and we did a retrospective on the Mission Impossible series. So for that, I got caught up, and I mean, the first one I will say is better than I remembered it.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is not a very good movie.
No, it is very of its time.
Yes.
It just in every way.
It is like May of 2000, specifically.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's got some interesting stuff in it, but was it just me, or I was tracking with the ridiculous action for most of it, which all the action's ridiculous, but they've actually tried to ground more of it now with Tom Cruise performing all of it in real life, basically.
Yes.
But in that one, I was tracking with it. It was a little more heightened. But then there was a moment out of nowhere where he does this sort of Matrix kick.
Yes.
Where I was like, oh, what?
Yep.
Oh, right. Early 2000s.
Yep. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny. That's Tim and I made that exact same observation.
Yeah.
To me, sort of like the mask stuff, where it's like, oh, he's wearing an Ethan Hunt mask. Is that Ethan Hunt? No, that's that guy. And this, no, and I'm like, ugh, God,
Yeah.
Like the end of the movie, near the end of the movie, where Richard Roxburgh is like in the Ethan Hunt mask.
Yeah.
And Dougray Scott, almost Wolverine, as I call him. He shoots him, and he finds out he's his friend, and he like screams, and I'm like, it feels so completely sideways from anything else in the series.
Yes.
The whole movie does.
And it was, I think, the hugest hit of that year.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
So, it
Figure
was
that
of
out.
its time, and it served its purpose in its time.
But I mean, when we look at, I think Mission Impossible 2 benefited from positive vibes from the first movie, because I think MI3, which is the lowest performing, is the recipient of the negative feeling to the second one.
Yeah, well, and that was a weird time too, because that was, I think, around the whole couch jumping thing.
That did not help, because that was about a year after, because that was around War of the Worlds, I think.
Okay.
So that was 05, right? And this is 06.
Yeah, so there's still some fallout, if you will.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that was 18 years ago,
Yeah.
And I think it says something about how thoroughly they got on their feet with the creatively from the third one on, that we're at a point now where, again, a Mission Impossible movie is about as sure a thing as you can imagine. Like, I mean, you know it's going to give you a certain bar of quality.
Mm-hmm. And it just the bar keeps rising with each film. And I like how 3 also set up a foundation in terms of, character and whatever the heart of the film is that has carried through
Yes,
these movies?
that was kind of my issue with the earlier films, is that, I've said before, I'm a big fan of the TV series. I still am. And I didn't like how, especially after movie 2. Movie 2, where I was like, I think I'm done with the series, because it was not Mission Impossible to me. It was Ethan Hunt, Super Spy.
Yes.
And I was like, where's the teamwork? Where's all, like, that's such a key element, right? I'm like, this is like a bad Bond ripoff. And so what I like is, from movie 3 on, it became Ethan Hunt is first among equals. Mm-hmm. So there's no doubting that he's the star of the show. He's the vehicle that carries it forward. But it is an ensemble. It's an ensemble that we're invested in. We care about them.
Yeah.
And they've given Ethan a vibrant inner life that has made him such an interesting character. I mean, we're at a point now where, you tell me, right, 22 years in, we have a franchise that's 6 movies deep, 1 actor playing it the whole time. That's unprecedented.
Yeah, where I don't remember what the actual number is, but Tom Cruise is just about the same age as Jon Voight was.
Yeah.
In the first Mission movie.
Well, here's some perspective. Tom Cruise is 56.
Yeah.
Which is the same age Roger Moore was in A View to a Kill.
Oh, interesting.
Which was the Bond movie he did where everyone was like, he should have retired like a movie ago. And here's Tom Cruise, thanks Xenu. He's running at a full sprint whether he needs to or not. He's dangling from helicopters. He's going to get killed for our entertainment.
I know. I sort of worry about that day, but for now...
Hey,
man.
Let the good times roll. Gasoline.
That's the theme, basically, lately. Yeah. But I do like that they do allude to it, I think, not directly so much, but in one fight that's in the trailer, like where they're in the bathroom.
Yes.
And Henry Cavill's just kicking ass all over the place, and then Tom Cruise is on the ground like, okay. Like, he gets winded a little earlier.
I like, it's sort of, they've given him a little bit of Indiana Jones.
Yes. Which is good, because he can't be great at everything.
That's the moment that really cemented that for me was in Rogue Nation, when he's fighting that guy in the opera on the risers.
Yes.
And you get that, just like Indy on the Flying Wing.
Yeah.
Where he's like, okay. Like,
he doesn't want to do this.
Yeah, and I really like that, because that's something that I started noticing with the 4th one, where he's dangling from the building and Benji is looking at him, and Benji says something, I can't remember. He's like, oh, you gotta do this. And Ethan's just like, no shit.
Yeah. I think he's like, the cable isn't long enough.
Yeah, that's right. I love that stuff because I think, and then we see it in this one too, where he's like, I'm jumping out a window,
Yeah.
Because it's relatable, and I think especially Tom Cruise, that's sort of been a cross he's had to bear, is that people oftentimes find him unrelatable.
Yes.
And so I think it says something. I think he's very smart, because I think he realizes that to a large extent, Ethan Hunt is going to be his meal ticket probably for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and as long as we're talking about his character, I think there's something interesting about him where he is, better than the average person at almost everything.
Yes.
But I do appreciate how they've sort of slightly doled out more of his like, they realize with each film they need to give him more and more of a relatability.
Yeah.
So that we know he is not enjoying hanging out of that building in 4 is one thing, and he doesn't want to fight this guy and whatnot. And in this one they play into that even further, where they give him something that you've seen in all the other movies but didn't realize, which is that he just won't kill anybody. Like he isn't willing to let anyone be killed.
Yeah, and
it matters to him.
It matters,
and he's willing to sacrifice things to keep people alive around him, whether he knows them or not. And I really enjoyed the way that was a part of this film.
Yeah, and it differentiates him from his predecessor, played by Jon Voight. I refuse to call that character Jim Phelps.
Sure, I can appreciate that. Even though I do like that movie, but if I was a fan of the show, I didn't watch the original show, but I can imagine that'd be infuriating.
Yeah, and without going over that whole old ground again. Just listen to what I said on Tim's show. But in big picture terms, the idea of his mentor / father figure who led the team, turning heel, and that being sort of a defining moment in Ethan's life where he says, "I'm never going to do that to my team. I'm never going to let my team come to danger because of me." Well, that's come to harm because of me. That's a compelling, motivating force.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I also like as well, because there were moments in here where he's doing something and he's about to crash into something, and I instinctively thought it would be fun if he kind of did like a ugh,
right,
or something, sort of like Indiana Jones would. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I'm glad he doesn't, because that isn't him.
Yes.
So I like that they do have enough to make him seem like a human being, but I'm glad that they don't go full comedy.
Yeah, and I think I think this many movies, this many years in, they can lean into our familiarity with him. I mean, his character is pretty well established.
Yeah.
And I like that. I mean, this is movie 6, and it is the most sequel-y out of all the missions because it feeds so heavily from everything that's come before it.
Yes.
I mean, right down to, there's a tie-in to the first movie, which I don't know if you caught.
I had to read about it later.
Yeah.
Which
I guess we can talk about it on the other side of the spoiler wall, I guess.
Yeah, well, should we, I don't know if people have picked up on it, but should we talk about if we liked it or not?
I gotta say, this is my favorite out of all 6.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure where I'd put it just yet, but I think 5 still might be my favorite.
I would go 6, 5, 4, 3, 1, 2. 1 and then a 20-story drop and then 2.
I mean, keeping 5 as number 1 for me, that's about my list as well.
Okay.
I think they each have different strengths too, which is kind of interesting. I feel like 3 is the most intense and emotional.
Yes.
And then I feel like 4 has the best set pieces and is maybe the most humorous.
Yes.
And has some great tension. And I feel like 5, to me personally, is the most refined version of them having figured out all these things that came before them, and they made just a knockout 10 out of 10 spy movie. And 6 just feels like a great second movie to that one.
See, to me, and this is an imperfect analogy, so just roll with it. To me, Fallout is the Dark Knight to Rogue Nations Begins.
Totally. Yeah, sure.
And I mean that not in terms of the tone or whatever. I mean purely in terms of Christopher McQuarrie's training wheels are off.
Yes.
And he's fully immersed now in this franchise. And this is like, okay, here's what I can do without, anyone to answer to.
Yeah, and I even wrote down a few notes for myself, and I just put Nolan-esque.
Yeah, there you go.
I thought the film felt Nolan-esque in terms of its feel and its scope.
Yes.
It feels like a gargantuan movie. It takes place in real locations and whatnot, but everything that's happening just feels gigantic.
Yes.
In a way that few directors are doing, and the only one I can really think of is Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. I read about McQuarrie when he was asked to come back. He questioned it to Tom Cruise, saying, every movie has had a different director. Mm-hmm. And when Tom Cruise was like, "No, you're doing it," he was like, "Well, then if I do, I want it to feel like a different director did it."
Oh, that's interesting.
And I feel like he did do that. Actually, it does feel different than the last one, but it's still as sharp as the last one as well. So whatever he set out to do, I feel like he did it.
But why did Tom Cruise want him back?
Well, like I said, 5 is my favorite one, I think, even though I like all of them really. And I feel like he was just like, oh, now this thing's firing on all cylinders. And whatever that process was, we'll get into it after spoilers, but I have a really long quote from McQuarrie I want to read about how they make these movies, which is bonkers in terms of how they construct the story basically on the fly as they're making the movie. And there must be something invigorating about it, and as we've seen, successful about it, that Tom Cruise is like, let's not screw with that. If this is working as well as it is, let's do that again.
Yeah.
That's my guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's an unquestioning thumbs up from me. I'm assuming same for you.
Oh yeah, like I already when I saw 5 and walked out of the theater, I was like, I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
And then with this one, when I walked out, I was like, can't wait for the next one.
Right. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
So, yeah.
So with that, let's breach the spoiler wall and let's get into it.
Spoiler.
Okay, spoiler. I hated it actually.
Rip off the mask.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, go ahead, Brian. Why don't you get the conversation started?
Well, I thought something that was kind of interesting about this movie. I mean, we can kind of work through it too in terms of set pieces and whatnot. But what's interesting about it is it was had a little bit of a darker tone to it.
But not. I mean, it wasn't oppressively darker.
Oh no! I don't even mean that. Where I'm like, this is the gritty version. I don't even mean it like that. But I thought the feel. Let's put it this way: it teases darkness a little bit more than the other ones did, and I thought that was really interesting. I really loved the moment where Ethan is pretending to be Lark, or John Lark, I think the name is. And they're like, okay, here's how you're going to extract Solomon Lane, and you don't realize it, but it's going into his imagination of how that will go down, and it's all these innocent cops getting killed, and it ends with him shooting a guy. And I remember feeling in the moment like, no, man, don't do it. Don't do it. Like, I didn't want him to do it.
Yeah.
And then when you snap out of it, it's like the best of both worlds, because I totally fell for it at first. And I appreciated the way, too, that I think it was just score, right? Like, there wasn't even sound design during that moment.
No.
And it's sort of haunting. And but then, so you get a tease of how it could be, and it doesn't feel good. And then you see how smart Ethan Hunt is, where he can pull that off without having to do that. And I really love that.
Yeah. I mean, even before that, I mean, right at the beginning of the movie, what I love is that the movie envelops you in the milieu of what a Mission Impossible is. You know, it starts with Ethan gets the little doodad, the thing. And then, right there, we're like, this is your mission. And it's this, like, ridiculously long thing where, like, I defy you to actually follow everything that was being said.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we're just off. And I think that's what you get when you're 22 movies into a series.
I did think about when he was watching his Mission film, and there's a part where it's like, all these bad guys are called the Apostles, and it, like, all their images are flying around, and I was like, who edited this?
Yeah, right.
Like some guy at IMF, like, all right, in a hurry because time is of the essence, and Ethan needs to read this quick.
That's his job at IMF, is just doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it plays on our familiarity with the characters. Like, obviously, Ving Rhames has been there since the jump, and I don't know about you, but I was like, oh, okay, I guess they're killing him off right in the first scene.
I thought so too, yeah.
And I think that's something that this movie does is at various times you're convinced that Luther is for sure going to die. At least twice I thought that. And then Benji, at one point, I was like, oh, he's for sure going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie makes you forget that these characters are sort of no longer expendable.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they would just kill off Luther like that because he's just too important now to the franchise. But the movie makes you forget that. And I think that's the true testament to what it accomplishes.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was sort of getting at. Like, normally these movies, even though things go haywire, they always solve everything and everything works out.
Yeah.
And that's the fun of it. I mean, that's why we go, because we want to see how they're going to make everything work. And I thought it was interesting in this one how they teased. Well, even in the beginning where they make you think that those, like, 3 holy sites had been bombed, like a nuclear bomb had gone off. And I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they tease darkness. You get to see the potential of what could happen should they fail.
Yes.
And actually, I think they did that in the last one, too, don't they? Like, they kind of go into Ethan's mind, and you get to see how something will play out, and it doesn't work. And he goes, I can't do that.
Yes,
so
yeah.
They push it further in this one.
Yeah, with Benji going through the gate test thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I liked. It adds to the tension.
Yes. Yeah. No. And above and beyond that, I mean, I think the way in which we're building on, again, the entire series to some extent. I mentioned the tie-in with the first one. The White Widow, played by Vanessa Kirby. She's the daughter of Max, played by Vanessa Redgrave in the first one.
Right.
And I love that that's such a tossed off thing that it means nothing. It does nothing to impact your enjoyment of the film.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have happened to watch them all, or recently, as I happened to, it's just this little thing where you're like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even it's funny because even the second one, I was kind of making fun of Ethan Hunt free climbing the rock in the beginning. I'm like, of course Ethan Hunt's free climbing the rock, and then this one like calls back to that.
I thought about that, and even though if he were to do that without that movie existing, you'd be like, okay, yeah, Ethan Hunt can do that.
Yes.
But watching this, having just watched that movie, I was like, yeah, no, I know he can do this.
That's right.
He climbs rocks.
That's the thing. What's funny though is the end of the movie, he's like trying to fly the helicopter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you telling me that's the one thing he doesn't know how to do? Like,
right.
You'd think that would be like week one.
Yeah.
Because that seems like something that would probably be called upon. Flying a helicopter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very true.
But let's talk about Henry Cavill.
Yeah. Just gonna say, I dig Henry Cavill, and I thought he was, what do they call him? They call him Ethan Hunt is like a precision tool, and he's a hammer.
That's right.
Right, and I thought that was a really fun sequence where they're, so he's forced to tag along with Ethan to make sure he's doing everything the way that IMF wants him to, and that whole thing where they're going to intercept John Lark so they can copy his face, and Tom Cruise has that little needle that's going to make him pass out.
Right.
It doesn't work out, and so Cavill's just like, screw this, and he takes their face-making machine and bashes him in the head with it.
And he does that iconic thing. He loads his fists.
Yeah, that was great.
Which apparently was improvised on set.
Yeah.
Per Macquarie. And obviously everybody's talking about Henry Cavill being a potential James Bond, which I don't know. After this movie, I'm like, dude, that's fine if he wants to be James Bond. But I'm just like, for the opening gun barrel scene, I don't want him to shoot. I just want him to load his fists.
And then I want him to punch the air and make a noise like.
Yeah, and then blood drips down the screen. Just with his hands, the guy died.
Right.
The air from his hands. But and then of course he's wearing the mustache, the Justice League killer.
Right. Yes.
I said before that mustache is a bigger villain than Doomsday. But what a stash it is! I found it funny.
But what a stash it is!
Stash.
And I agree with you.
It's like a character. It should have been like and Henry Cavill's mustache.
Yeah.
It's funny because the movie is almost like systematically uglifying Henry Cavill.
Yes.
Starting with a mustache.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, by the end, he's like Two-Face,
Yeah, he's like Two-Face. Yeah, exactly.
But the other thing I wanted to bring up was Secretary Hunley.
Yes.
Played by Alec Baldwin, who, I don't know about you, but I was brokenhearted when he died.
Oh, yeah. And that was a great sort of twist.
Yes.
There in the middle of the film. Because I was thinking, this feels like something that comes later, and I love that it was in the middle.
Yes.
And the way that, Benji, he keeps talking about in the earlier films how he always wants to wear a mask, and he gets to finally do it in this one.
Finally wear. And, he wears one twice. He's Wolf Blitzer, remember?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That'd be funny, too, for people who have gone past the spoiler wall without having seen the movie, huh? He's a Wolf Blitzer also.
Anyway, moving on.
That's right.
Yeah, but they did a great job of, because it's like I said, right? You're like, well, Benji's not expendable. Luther's not expendable. Hunley, well, he's last hired, first fired kind of thing,
Yeah.
And I thought they did such a good job of ingratiating us to him at exactly the right time to make his death meaningful, right? Because the truth is we don't know what to make of him.
Yes.
You know, because there's that scene in the tunnels underneath the Paris, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Ethan's getting berated by him, and we're like, oh God, we've seen this movie how many times? It's like every movie.
Mm-hmm.
The secretary, who's the head of the IMF, is going after Ethan, and we know Ethan is right because he's Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
But they set it up. They make this play like, no, he's with them. He's been with them the whole time.
Yeah, I love that. And then he has some line to the effect of, I see why you guys enjoy this so much.
Yeah, right. And that's just literally, I'll tell you, he said that. I was like, oh, he's going to die.
Oh, really? I didn't see it coming. That's funny.
I was like, oh, R.I.P. Secretary Hunley.
Yeah. But along those lines, going back to Cavill related to this, it's interesting. In each movie, there's always something that's like thwarting Ethan Hunt.
Yes.
You know, whether it's like he goes protocol, his team IMF is after him. And fifth one, IMF doesn't exist anymore and they're all disavowed. And this one, I love that it's a person. Like the person he's teamed up with, Henry Cavill's character.
Yeah.
It's like, and from the get-go, when they're about to jump out of that airplane, which we could talk about because that's the first big stunt in the movie. But just, like already this guy's being like a thorn in his side.
But didn't you sort of assume that, they're doing their Riggs and Murtaugh thing and then they'll be buddies by the end?
Actually, no, and I don't know how. I don't remember where I read it, but I thought I read somewhere where it called him the villain.
Oh, well then...
So I kind of knew he was going to be... So when he met in front of the Eiffel Tower with Angela Bassett...
Yeah.
Like, I just knew something bad was going down. I thought either she was bad... It turns out it was just him, but...
Well, yeah, when he hands her the phone...
Yeah, yes.
That's when I was like,
right.
Oh, okay. Because it's in pristine condition.
Right.
So I was like, oh, okay. But, to some extent, I was kind of hoping that it was headed towards, and he'll be, like, part of the team by the end. That's what I just assumed.
Yeah.
But that being said, he made a great villain. I mean, I think him and Sean Harris being sort of the mind and the muscle.
Yes, yeah.
Is very effective. I mean, this is honestly, this is the first time we have a villain who recurs in the series, but who really, he has a personal grudge against Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
In a much deeper way. I mean, I guess, Dougray Scott in the second one to some extent, but it felt much more Moriarty to me.
Yeah. And then there's a fun component to it also where Hunt's undercover, and if the villain identifies him, he's blown.
Yes.
So that was kind of fun.
Yeah. So we should talk about this. In Paris, you have this chase sequence that goes from like car to motorcycle to foot to culminating in Ethan going underground in the boat.
Yeah, I literally had this thought as I was watching the moment when he was on the motorcycle and he's weaving through traffic. I was like, look at how steady that camera is.
I know.
I was like, I can see everything.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So
well, and by the way, just winding the clock back, that Halo jump.
Yes.
I mean, this is where I'm looking at this, and I'm like, are you guys nuts? Because I'm like, you don't have to do this. You know that, right? Like, I
did have a little bit of a beef with that scene, with regards to what you're saying, because I watched the behind the scenes thing, and it was awesome. I mean, he prepared for that jump for a year.
Yeah.
And then you can see the behind the scenes footage where a camera guy falls out before him and follows him out of the plane. And apparently it's made to look like one shot, but it was 3 shots stitched together, which is still incredibly impressive.
Yes.
However, similar to the moment in Rogue Nation, actually, when he's trying to get that security chip out of the underwater thing and he has to hold his breath for 6 minutes.
Uh-huh.
I remember thinking that was really impressive. However, I could tell the whole environment was CGI.
Yes.
Which makes sense, because, I mean, that was kind of you had to build that set in some way. But at the same time, it sort of took away from the impressive thing that was being performed in front of me.
Yes.
And similar in this one, I totally think it's awesome that he jumped out of that plane, but the whole background around him was CG.
Yeah.
Where they added in the city below him and they added a storm.
Well, and like getting hit by lightning.
Yes, getting it, of course. But then I was sort of like, well,
It's like, look, if you're gonna do it,
jump out of the plane?
if you're gonna do it, hit Henry Cavill with real lightning. Otherwise, F off.
That's what Tom Cruise is. He should have said to him when he joins his movie. But yeah, I mean, because then I started thinking about that, and it was taking away from the realism of the effect and what the achievement that was happening. Unlike the other ones, which we'll get to, but like the helicopter thing was crazy.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, just real quick, I mean, with the Halo jump, the fact that you have another cameraman with a rig jumping out of a plane, I'm like, man, I don't love my craft that much.
Oh yeah, and I was reading too. I mean, you know, they had to pull focus.
Right.
So there's someone pulling focus, and they had like no monitor, and they were just doing it based on distance.
You have to love what you're doing.
Yeah.
To do that.
It's super impressive.
It's very, very impressive. But that's kind of my point. Is I'm looking at that and I'm like, you could put that against a blue screen and we'd be okay with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, Tom, you don't need to do this, seriously.
right.
You know. But yeah, no. The later there's the like we said, I think the chase sequence in Paris is almost more impressive in some ways because it is so ground level.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a really intense chase that's well choreographed and well captured and really thrilling to watch.
Yeah, and of course later on in the movie when we have Tom Cruise running across the city trying to track down Walker, Henry Cavill. I mean, I don't know how Tom Cruise didn't just have a grabber right then and there, because
a grabber?
Yeah, like a heart attack.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Well, now you have.
Yeah.
That's part of my goal. Is every episode I try to add a new piece of vernacular to Brian's vocabulary.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Now I'll be like talking with like the old men at the cigar club down the street, and when they talk about grabbers, I'll be like, yes.
I mean, here's my thing, right? Because I have to walk up the steps to sit down and record with you, and honestly, I stopped halfway because I got a little winded. Meanwhile, here's Tom Cruise running like his ass is on fire.
Yeah, right.
Across the city. And it's like, even if you tell me, well, that's a bunch of different shots, that's fine. He still had to run that fast in all them shots. There's the one shot where it's like overhead, and you just see, you know, how far he has to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a rooftop or something.
Rooftop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm getting tired just looking at that.
Yeah.
You know? I wanted to sit down in the theater, and I was already sitting down.
Right.
You know? So kudos to him. I mean, like I said, this series is his baby.
Oh yeah. He's putting it all out there.
You know? But other things that jumped out at you. Oh, Rebecca Ferguson, we didn't mention at all. I have such a crush on Rebecca Ferguson. Oh my gosh.
Dude, I have a mad crush. Her character is so awesome. Like, I think she's such a great character and a great addition to this whole series here. I hope they keep her going. And I love how they tease that there's a little bit of attraction in the last one. And in this one, of course, it's more implied. Well, not implied, it's there. But it's handled in a more subtle way that I kind of like. And I kind of like that dance. I hope they don't go full into that until the series maybe wraps up.
Yes.
I really like that she is his equal.
Yes.
She's equally as badass. And did you notice, by the way, at the end when Benji is hanging, she has the choice to save him or to kill Solomon Lane, and she kills Solomon. Unlike what Ethan would do.
I didn't get the sense that she killed him.
Or whatever, like, in my memory, whatever she did to disable him, let's say. Like, she chose to disable him before she chose to save Benji. Well, which would be the opposite of what
she throws him the bottle, though, right?
Yeah, but he passes out. Like, he's out, and she chooses to do the other thing first.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which I had to assume that was on purpose, and I dug because that's, as Angela Bassett says, like, that's the job.
That's the job, yeah.
And she, she's just like Ethan, but that's Ethan's thing, and she has her thing. Like, she gets the job done.
Yeah. And I like, by the way, that we got to see Michelle Monaghan again in a substantive role, and the series sort of answered the question about, well, what happened to Julia?
Yeah. I read an interview with Macquarie where he was saying that they thought they had wrapped up her story, but people thought it was still too open-ended and they were thinking about her, and for Ethan to move on, they had to actually wrap that up, and I thought they did it in a nice way.
That's really interesting because, certainly for me, at the end of Ghost Protocol, I never got the sense that she and Ethan were no longer together.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, my sense was like she has to stay hidden, but they're still clearly... I just assumed they were still married. I don't know. I didn't think otherwise.
Yeah, because she sees him.
Yeah, they sort of
keeping
acknowledge
tabs on
each
her.
other. Right. Right. If it was... Right. If they didn't acknowledge each other, then it would be like, oh, they're not together anymore.
Yes.
That's
or like she feels like a breeze on her shoulder and he's gone or something. Yeah.
It's him blowing. She just looks over, it's him.
Yeah, right.
No, I think that's a smart play. I think, you did need to wrap that up, and I think it was smart that the way, it was very deliberate the way she's like, everything, even though we're not together, you've given so much joy to my life. Like, my identity is because of the time we were together, or whatever, however they frame it. Mm-hmm. And she married Wes Bentley. I don't know if that's a...
I thought they did a pretty good job, though, of giving her a happy ending, where it could seem a little too perfect, but it actually works well because, she was a nurse or a doctor in the third one, and it made sense that she had to keep moving, and then she found this way to continue doing what she's passionate about, but she just now does it. She incorporates it in her need to travel around the world, so it felt organic and satisfying for her, and I appreciated that rather than just killing her off or something stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think, and that's something that Brad Bird had talked about during the making of Ghost Protocol. Was, originally as scripted, she had been killed off in between movies.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting.
And Brad Bird said he didn't want that because it invalidated everything that was the quest in number 3.
Yeah.
Ethan's trying to save her and everything else, and it felt cruel to him.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like Alien 3 or something, where you just kill off the people in between movies.
Right.
So, but look at how that's paid off,
Yeah.
Brad Bird's decision to keep her alive was something that then McQuarrie was able to pick up on 2 movies down the line, and it allows for just a richer experience.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Yeah. We've alluded to it, but that helicopter chase at the end.
Yeah.
Oh,
in which, again, this is so heavily, equally as advertised with this film, but that Tom Cruise actually learned to fly a stunt helicopter and performed all.
Well, not just that. He was like dangling from the rope, like from the thing, and he fell onto the thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, that was probably maybe the least showy, but that was my favorite stunt of the movie.
Yeah, because it felt so real.
Yeah, and one of my favorite shots. Oh, wait, I actually kind of want to know. You texted me saying that there were a couple moments you're like, Brian's going to love this. Brian's going to love this. I'm kind of curious what it was. But one of them was this shot where it was on the left side of the frame was Henry Cavill in the helicopter, unaware of the helicopter behind him, and you see the rope, and Ethan just slowly climbing up the rope. I was like, I think they cut it to it once or twice. I could have gone for a third or fourth time.
That whole helicopter sequence was in my head. I was like, oh man, this is where Brian's like leaning forward in his chair.
I probably was.
I thought it was tremendous. When you see him fall down the rope.
Yes.
It's and again, that's where I'm like, dude is 56 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy,
And you know what? Let's give even more credit to McQuarrie for knowing where to put a camera and when to cut and when not to cut. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, I think, would try to heighten it or amp it up by more cuts, maybe, and different angles and whatnot. But he just knows, that this is real. And I'm going to find the best way to show you how awesome this is. And that's a lot of wide shots.
Yeah.
And I think that's wise.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when it comes to action directors, Christopher McQuarrie, in very short time, in essentially 3 movies for me, has entered the upper tier.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's done with Mission Impossible yet. I mean, it sure seems like he's game for another one.
Yeah, I would hope so. But I actually have a quote. I read this interview, and it's a little long, but I thought I'd read it because I thought it was really interesting about how these movies are made. And I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about, and they loved the movie. And they're saying it's interesting that these movies are this perfect balance. I mean, when you really take a step back, like you said, this plot is bonkers and difficult to follow. And it is. And when you really take a step back, I mean, this movie is just a generator for the next action sequence.
Yeah.
But that's almost not giving it the credit it deserves, because they do still care about the characters and making sure we know what they want and what they care about, and that we care about them getting to their goals. So it's just this sort of impossible mixture, like this chemistry that mission, shouldn't work,
if you will.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is a quote from Macquarie about how they make these movies, and it just makes it even more baffling how they pull this off. So he's talking about making these movies. He says, "It's an approach that I will reference rather than use. Something I've said very often about writing: there are no rules until you write them. You start with a clean page and you quickly convince yourself that I can't do this because that has happened, or I can't do this because I want that to happen. What Mission has taught me is just let all of that go. What needs to happen? What needs to happen next? What is the most compelling thing that can happen next? Like you were saying, the finished screenplay rules. In Mission, the finished screenplay does not. The finished screenplay actually confines and limits. Through discovery, all I really need to know is where is the location and what assets need to be there on the day, including vehicles, props, sets, and actors. Everything that happens in that scene is malleable, and it can change so long as it conforms to what's been shot. It does not need to conform to what hasn't been shot. What hasn't been shot is completely malleable. So if we make a discovery on the day, we can change it. But of course, we can only change so much. If you already have shot the scene that comes before, you have to honor it. What Tom and I have done is we've developed a pretty solid set of muscles in terms of how to shoot a scene so that scene can be manipulated so that it can be quickly reshot. For example, all the information dumps in a Mission Impossible movie, whenever possible, are in a car, a phone booth, or a confined set of some kind, so we can go back and reshoot that stuff. We can change it if we really want to. And all the character stuff where we're finding those characters, whenever we're shooting it, we cover the scene in such a way that I can lift whole chunks of the scene out if they don't apply to the movie anymore, so it allows us to explore. The biggest and most important thing on this movie in the early stages was locations. I didn't really concern myself with what happened at those locations. I just wanted the locations to look like a great-looking spy movie."
Wow.
How do these movies work?
That's amazing.
He's like, all right, we're in Paris. We got a motorcycle. What am I chasing? I don't know. We'll find it.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. I mean, I actually think that quote is a good way to wrap up this discussion.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about what did Tom see in Macquarie and bringing him back, I mean, clearly they figured out some sort of process for these movies that's working for the both of them and working for people, because this had the highest opening of any of the Mission movies.
Yeah, so. and I think it's safe to say that there will be another one in a few years. And that's kind of the interesting thing is if you remember when number 4 came out, part of the reason they had Jeremy Renner in there was for him to be like the backup lead.
Yeah.
In case Tom Cruise begged off, which I feel bad for Jeremy Renner because he's always a bridesmaid, never a bride, right? Between Mission and Bourne.
Yeah.
He's like the guy left holding the door, you know?
Yeah, and to a kind of extent, the Avengers movies.
Yeah, that's true. Like, oh yeah, where is he in Infinity War? I don't know. He's doing something.
Yeah.
But the question is, who could possibly replace Mission Impossible's leading actor?
Man, I don't know.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, for as much as I quibble about the whole Jim Phelps business, let's be very frank. Tom Cruise is the face of Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
And he is nigh on irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Now that being said, he could do this for another 10 years probably.
Yeah, and not have it look ridiculous, for sure.
Yeah. But that's the question. I mean, what happens next? Where do they go from here?
Yeah. Well, I hope that they do.
Yeah, well, I expect that they will.
Yeah.
So go see Mission Impossible Fallout, folks, if you haven't already, because it did well, but it did Mission Impossible well, but not.
Yes.
Like, it only did okay by like summer blockbuster standards.
Yeah, like 60 something, low 60s.
Yeah, like we're so accustomed to like 200 million,
Yeah,
140 million. This it tells you that these movies tend to have longer legs because they open slightly smaller, but they tend to stay afloat slightly longer.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, I'm assuming there's a fair number of you who haven't, and hopefully you haven't listened all the way through the spoilers if you haven't seen it. But if you have seen it and you listened through, hell, go see it again. I intend to.
Same here, actually. I'm kind of looking forward to the moment I can.
It is 2.5 hours long, so I must implore you listening, if you have not seen it, pee before you watch it. I mean, seriously, drain the tank. Because there's no let up.
Yeah, no, there's no pee moment.
There's no pee moment.
It just keeps going.
It's peeless.
Yeah.
So that's your mission before you watch Mission Impossible Fallout, is make sure you urinate thoroughly.
I feel like this is coming from a personal experience.
No, I went. I was smart.
Okay.
I got to the theater early and I went, and then like 5 minutes before trailers, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna double dump.
Yeah.
And I drained the tank and I felt great.
Good. There's nothing worse than when you're only an hour into a film and you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, something that's always, I'm so paranoid about needing to pee during movies, especially because as I've gotten older, I have like the bladder capacity of an infant.
Right. Well, do you drink like Coke or water?
I try not to because I've learned my lesson. I remember back in summer of 2001, I went to see The Perfect Storm opening night, which is the absolute wrong movie to watch.
It didn't even occur to me. Yeah.
Oh my God! About halfway through, and I'm in. It's like opening night, packed row, and I'm in the middle of the row.
Oh no!
Which you don't even want to get up. You don't want to bother everybody, but you're just like you're drowning in watching the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I probably had like a supersized icy or something stupid, which is obviously a mistake.
Yeah.
Like my memory of The Perfect Storm is just needing to pee.
I was just gonna say, you never forget your one. For me, it was Inside Man, that Spike Lee movie.
Oh, sure.
Oh, I'll never forget it. I had to go so bad, but the whole movie, it was like this sort of twisty suspense sort of thing, and it was all unfolding. And I was like, no, I gotta know what happened. I sat here for like an hour and 45 minutes. And
is Clive Owen a good guy or a bad guy?
Right. Yeah, I bolted out of that theater.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
So definitely pee, and then immediately after you pee, watch Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yeah, guys. I wish that would be a pull quote for the poster.
That should be pee first, then watch the movie.
Pee first.
Well, we will be back in a few weeks with our next regular episode, but before that, we'll be back with our special commentary track celebrating 25 years of one of my all-time favorite movies, and Brian, I'm fairly certain one of your all-time favorite movies, The Fugitive.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
Oh, man.
We both love this. We quote it to each other all the time. We send pictures we take when it's on TV to each other, and we've never watched it together.
Never watched it together. And it really does, to some extent, feel like a movie that time has forgotten.
Yeah. And not for any good reason either. Not that it's aged poorly or anything. It's still a great movie.
It is. It indeed is. I watch it every semester with my students.
Yeah.
And they enjoy it every single time. So I'm looking forward to that. So you too in the audience hopefully can look forward to that. And we also have, as I mentioned earlier, our Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom commentary track coming later this month as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that wraps up episode 152 of the Movie Film Podcast. This mission will self-destruct. This message will self-destruct in just a few moments. But before it does, Brian, where can people find you if they're looking for you online?
Well, I write for a show called Puppy Dog Pals, which airs on Disney and Disney Junior. And it's so funny. I feel like I say the same thing every time, and I feel like I got to shake it up. And then at the last second, I go, why would I do that? And then I just say the thing that I always say. And it always trips me up. But anyway, it's an adorable little show about dogs going on adventures around the world. And if you have kids or if you love puppy dogs, I say check it out.
There you go. And as for me, you can find me on my website, ZakisCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's also my Twitter. That's also my Instagram. You can also check out the latest Nostalgia Theater podcast featuring my interview with Steven Weber, talking about Wings and making The Shining and also making Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. One of my favorite interviews that I've done. I think you guys will really enjoy it. Also, check out, as I mentioned earlier, my guest shot on the Anything Goes podcast with Tim Rooney, reminiscing about the Mission Impossible franchise. I had a lot of fun talking with him, and I think you will enjoy listening to it. And with that, also, I want to thank everybody for writing those reviews for us. If you do have any comments you'd like to make about the show, go to iTunes and leave a review, leave a star rating. Every little bit helps. You can also send feedback to moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com or hit like on our Facebook page and message us at facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. And with that, I'm going to light the fuse on this episode and say thanks everybody for listening. Catch you next time.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast.